Let me see. After about 2 years, one of these days, we're going to get that right. Welcome, everybody. We have Gandalf and Amy as usual, and our good pal, Mark, Global Agenda. Mark, how are you, bud?
I'm good, buddy. How are you?
It could be worse, man. It could always be worse. I haven't talked to you in a while, and you have been a busy boy.
I've been in the QAnon rabbit hole pretty well steady since it came online, mainstream August 1st.
So, actually, that's one of my questions I wanted to ask you. Have you been in that rabbit hole literally since the very beginning? Have you been following the Q thing? Were you one that jumped on the bandwagon like right away?
No, I think that if you go back and see when the chronological order of my last number of videos, I think in the first few I put a disclaimer that I'm not new to Q. I'm just new at posting about Q, because I sat back and watched Q from the sidelines, and I saw it develop online. And I had mentioned it in a chat with you back last October, late October, November. What do you think about this Q? And I think it was a post chat. I asked, it was you personally, Aaron, and you had at the time just, you really didn't have anything to say about it. And I just remember telling you that we have to keep our eye on it. And do you recall our conversation about that?
I do recall our conversation, and I remember why I gave you that answer is because I was literally doing the same thing. I was really just watching from the sidelines. I wasn't somebody who visited 4chan, and I wasn't somebody who, when Q came along, I wasn't the kind of person that was like, following every step. I was just sort of keeping an eye on it from the periphery. And I was checking out, videos of people like Johnny Supertramp and whoever else was, talking about it and or trying to expose it. And for the most part, when it came out, there wasn't a lot of people exposing it. It was just a big, it was a phenomenon, obviously, and a lot of people were getting sucked into it, and a lot of people were chasing the rabbit hole that he was, the breadcrumbs that Q was laying out. But yeah, that's why I didn't have much to say about it. I wasn't sure what it was. I mean, literally everybody was like, "Oh my God, this guy's legit because he's making predictions." And what was that thing that he used to say? Past something predicts future, something like that. Past post predicts future, something like that. Do you remember that little phrase?
Vaguely.
Yeah, he has his. Yeah, that was one of his rhymes. That's how he operates. He's a rhymer. You got to distort his truth. But yeah, I remember that. I remember that you and I were just kind of like going, "What? We got to keep our eye on that." And then we never really discussed Q anymore. I think I've been on with you a few times since then, but we didn't focus on Q. It was still going hot and heavy on YouTube, but it wasn't mainstream at all. But I remember just seeing all the channels that were pushing it and all the new channels that were growing and surfacing. And then that's when I started really to start pay attention. But I paid attention right away because I remember that very first Tracy Bean's November 3rd video. I watched it. So I was, for some reason, I was plugged into Tracy Beans right off the bat. So I made sure I was checking up what she was doing. And then it led me to watching SGT and then the rest of the crew, Lionel Nation and yada, yada. So I was paying attention, and then when it went full stream, that's when I went hardcore, and I said, "What the hell is this Q?" And then that's when I've popped up and I've started. Basically, I just posted a video right now. It just came online as we're talking. It's brand new, and it's about two of the players that are still pushing the Q narrative, and that's War Drummer and War Drummer, who is Serial Brain, and then the other one is Praying Medic. So these are two channels that I'm telling people keep your eye on, because they're still pushing the narrative. And Q is all about making money. It's a money maker.
Did you say Praying Medic?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I got that guy on my radar this week.
Yeah.
I don't know
you
who
can
he is.
You can go and
this guy's got like 132,000 subscribers. His icon is like it's like a post World War II, like a Vietnam era helicopter in the background. So I guess he's ex-military, because his channel name is Praying Medic, and he's, like I said, 132,000 subscribers. He's a big pusher of Q. So yeah.
Yeah.
Praying Medic. Go ahead, Amy. Sorry.
My first encounter with Q was I forget the name of the channel now, but they were going all on about how awesome Q was, and then when what it said was something about how Trump is working against the deep state, and I just did a face palm right there and went, okay, this is bullshit. Just knew it at that very moment.
It's, that's interesting that you mentioned that, Amy, because the Q phenomenon and those who follow it diligently and put out a lot of videos and promote it they're heavy Trump supporters. And to me, it's reminiscent of like flat Earth and religion seems to go together like peanut butter and jelly. And
yes.
QAnon and Trump supporters seem to go, hand in hand as well.
Yeah, it seems that way.
It's almost like anybody who's pushing the Q narrative is a strong Trump supporter and sucked into the left-right paradigm.
Well, you have to be a Q supporter or a Q follower, because all of Q's posts are basically talking about how Trump is purging the United States of the deep state, and they're given all these reasons why Hillary Clinton hasn't been arrested. It's basically a Trump fanboy conspiracy theory.
Yeah, I think so.
So, have you guys heard that there's an app, a Q app?
Oh yeah, I've heard about this, man. Didn't it get removed off the Apple store or something like that?
Well, as far as I know, it's not on Apple. It's I think it's called QAnon Pub.
Oh my God, bro!
And it's it's
the QAnon Pub is one of the chat boards that they run. Yeah, so the QAnon Pub is one of their main. If you're following Q, you want to follow the pub, the QAnon Pub. That's the one that's run by Serial Brain, who is War Drummer. So that's one of the chat boards that those guys are still running, the boys that are still in Q.
So, Mark, you never did get sucked into trying to decipher any of the Q posts?
No, early on, I was very skeptical. So it was like I just sat there and I did watch some of those guys break them down, and then I knew right away it wasn't right though, Aaron. So I wasn't falling for the Kool-Aid. I was just sticking on the perimeter, watching it all play out. But I was at the same time I was analyzing who was behind it for sure. I mean, of course I was.
So you would say you got into it maybe around the winter, like maybe around February, January?
Gandalf, when I got into it was right around it was December 23rd is when you had Pamphlet and Baruch the Scribe. They went on to InfoWars together, and then it kind of went viral for a while. The two QAnon, the Chan operators were on, and it was right around the time that 4chan was going up to 8chan, and there was a coup, and that's when the trip code error was, they said they were hacked, and Pamphlet and unlocked it, and then they had to break it, and it was happened on there. You saw that little piece where, who's got the trip code? It was like, well, Qstonie's posting that has the trip code, and they were saying who's got because they couldn't get onto their own board. So when they went to 8chat, that's when I started paying attention, because that's when Tracy Beans was full hardcore into promoting this with the Scribe and with Pamphlet. So that's when I was listening to those interviews, and then I was also watching what Pamphlet and Baruch were doing on the sides, because I knew those two were the players on the boards, because Tracy Beans her video basically said she was going to use them and they were going to use her to promote the Q online. And the Q on YouTube, pretty well, it's after Roy Potter interviewed Baruch the Scribe again yesterday, and I know Unirock was breaking it down last night, and I will listen to Roy Potter by myself off to the side. And when you listen to Baruch's pretty well telling you that, who Q is. Basically, Pamphlet and Honest Q. Those are the ones that are posting it, and all the bakers are the Serial Brains and the Jordan Sathers and the Praying Medics. Those are the guys that are out there pushing the Q still, and Bill Smiths and these channels.
Yeah, the one.
So
guy
I was aware of the players early, and then I just watched all these other, because they promoted it so heavily on YouTube. I figured there was something going on here.
Well, my whole story.
That's when I started.
Like when it all started, when I first caught on to it, was like in the early stages. I'd say sometime in the fall, and I saw on 4chan people were posting people were claiming to be QAnon, but the whole thing was that people on 4chan, it was on the poll section of 4chan. People were actually calling it out day one that it's a LARP, like a live action role play. People were saying that day one that this is bullshit, none of this is true. And that's when I noticed that it really moved on to the 8chan board. And the whole thing that's the whole thing. Like when people come to these 4chan type sites, most of the time people go there to LARP. They go there to pretend that there's something. I've done it before. I've pretended that I'm like a U.S. intelligence operative that's posting out of a submarine, and people believe it. People will go there and believe this stuff, right? And I pretended to be a hardcore Trump supporter, posting like anime pictures with where I can't even hardly spell, and just pretending to be as dumb as I possibly can, and seeing how many people will respond to it. But that's all 4chan is. That's what you're supposed to do on 4chan, and that's what these guys came there to do, was to LARP as some kind of insider in the Trump administration, right?
Mm-hmm. Wow.
But no, you kept your eyes on it, man, because like after I saw it disappear off 4chan, I stopped paying attention to it for months, man. I'm only now starting to pay attention to it again.
Well, the players are pretty well still the same, because you've got Pamphlet and On is still basically the conductor over the orchestrator, and now you've got Baruch the Scribe. He's out there still pushing the narrative, and yet he was supposed to have been forced out of ownership when 4chan went to 8chan, right? So I'm not so sure that that he's still not part of the whole script.
Yeah, I really noticed that it kind of like when it moved to 8chan, That's when people like Jerome Corsi started picking it up and started talking about the QAnon posts all day. Do you remember when Jerome Corsi was he flipped out and he totally turned on Q when someone on the 8chan board claiming to be Q said not to trust anyone that's trying to profit off of this. Jerome Corsi has no inside information. Neither does Alex Jones, because both of them were claiming at that point that they had inside information.
Right.
So it kind of so a lot of these people started turning on the whole QAnon idea because they were being called out by whoever is posting the Q posts. So like, and this could be anybody, you know what I mean? Like who knows who this is?
Well, Jason Ogden's in the chat there, and I just said to him, there's several people are Q. It's Pamphlet's baby. Pamphlet is the one who hatched this program with Tracy Beans and Baruch. Okay, so those were your three orchestrators. Okay, those were them right there. The Q original 3-pack YouTube channel planners, when it began on the internet in late October 27, is Paul Ferber, aka Baruch the Scribe, Coleman Rogers, aka Pamphlet and On, and Tracy Beans, who's Tracy Diaz. They all pushed it. They pushed the narrative. Serial Brain, Oil Guy, has got a great video where Serial Brain in the chat room, Serial Brain told everyone to jump on YouTube's live stream. That's what it's there for. You've gone through the purge and the demonetization of the channels. So now YouTube has given you a gift of a kiss. Get out there and do live streams and super chats. And then boom, the kings of live stream, you got it. Lionel Nation for sure. Corsi was right in there, and there was several others that tried to get in on the live streams, and I know a bunch of them did. And when you look at the super chats, even now with Lift the Veil, you've got people that are lining up to give these people $5 here and there for super chat, and that was pushed by the QAnon insiders on YouTube. They told their guys, go out there and live stream and super chats. It's all about the dollars.
Well, at one point, I remember checking out the Jerome Corsi live streams that he was doing. He was getting donations of $150, and he'd get $350 donations, and like the money was rolling in for all these people that were pushing this. But what gets me is, I just wonder where the hell all these people are coming from that are totally on the Q train.
Yeah, there's definitely has to be. There has to be a. There has to be a network. There has to be a network for sure. Okay, and I think that we can go back to Oil Guy's video on QAnon mastermind Thomas Schoenberger, Schoenberger of Cicada 3301. So this Thomas Schoenberger, he is the mastermind of bumping Cicada 3301 and starting the setup to the Q program. And he's also one of the ones that has obviously shilled out some money to get a lot of people on board in this network. There's a network here. There's got to be a network here. No doubt about it. That's Gandalf. There's a network here.
Oh, I don't doubt that at all.
How deep in and what connection do you think that Jordan Sather destroying the illusions playing in all this?
Jordan was with Tracy, so those two. When you look in the beginning of Q and the social media, it was definitely Jordan was picked to be one of the top dogs on YouTube to get the message up, and he was the one that was going after the little old ladies that see the little good-looking grandson, and several of my videos they've totally gone after the blue hairs and the gray hairs and the older Donald Trump, Tea Party types.
Yeah, like, have you seen?
I'm sure that.
Man, well, have you seen? So you've seen these pictures then of the 4chan, like the people that say check out 4chan. They're driving with QAnon plastered all over their cars. They're all wearing T-shirts, and it's all looks like people in their 50s, 60s. It's crazy. It's like there's hardly any young people interested. There's a few people interested into this, but that are young. But it looks like it's mostly older Trump supporters.
I think that that's the demographic that they wanted. If that's a very gullible demographic, especially in the twilight years when, you know, they're just asking for something, anything. The whole thing about this queue is here they are. They want to wake people up, which is great, but you're waking them up at a cost, and the cost is you've got to donate. I mean, if you look at these channels like War Drummer, Jordan's, all of the praying medics of the QAnon world, their whole first 6 or 7 lines of their channel is where you can donate to them. It's an absolute
disgrace,
shame, and a sham. Yeah, that they're going after that generation of donators, because those people are the ones that are active, and if they've got a bite, they're going to stay on it. And that's why I think that the brainwashing of the older people is something that these guys definitely manufactured and manipulated.
Oh, so
because when you look at the rallies,
hang on, I want to take a step back, but go ahead and finish your thought. When you take a look at the rallies,
when you take a look at the rallies and you look at, I mean, the Tampa Bay one was the big one. That was the August 1st, right? That was Q coming out the same time that Cappy was coming out, right? So when you look at the 2 virals that day, that was the Tampa Bay viral one. That was the Florida, because I followed the next 2 or 3 rallies on the Q guys, including Gandalf. Who's Steve, the Marine, the retired Marine? What's his name? What's his channel? You know the guy, the retired Marine.
Oh, you're talking about.
Anyway.
Oh God, what's that guy's name again?
The retired Marine. Wears the sunglasses and the hair. And
okay. What's his name?
What's his name?
Marine.
Retired Marine.
Oh God, Marine something. Jeez. Okay, I haven't watched the guy in a long time, man.
Yeah. Anyway, I just noticed there Tracy Beans has posted a new video, and it's not about Q. I still get her notifications. I got to keep my eye on her. Anyway, going back to that, when they had another rally the next 2 nights later in Erie, Pennsylvania, and Steve, the retired Marine, he put it that's going to be Q Central, and he had all these videos. I did a video about one of my Q ones was calling out Steve. They're going, "Hey, where were the Qs?" Because it was all planted to go off in Tampa. That was a plant for sure. They had everyone there. They knew CNN. The whole thing was set. It was staged. It was beautiful. And then that was Q's coming out party. And then from there, you could go in and look at it yourself if you want to. But that was big for Q, and it was also big for the PSYOP. And that's when it blew up. And then everyone's going, who's Q? What's Q? What's Q? But that's when I said, okay, that's it. Switch it on. And then I've just been, full on Q. Get out of here. You're not the truth. You're a bunch of LARPers. Go.
I think that this is only going to get bigger for the time being, man. I don't see it disappearing anytime soon.
I want to take a step back. You guys, my microphone, I've been having trouble with it lately, and the damn thing disconnected while you guys were talking about Jordan Sather, and I tried cutting in and had to unplug and plug back in and reset my mic. Anyway, I want to go back to Jordan Sather for a minute. Mark, are you of the mindset that Jordan Sather is like? Did you say that? What were the words you used? I don't want to put words in your mouth. What did you say? They called him in, or they brought him on board, or something like that? What was it?
Yeah.
So
yeah, definitely. Jordan is he's been planted into that community.
Wait, okay. All right, so you think that Jordan was, you know, brought in on the team, on the Pump the Q bandwagon team, and you think he's part of this LARPing network? Is that correct?
Pardon me?
You think that Jordan Sather was brought in on the LARPing Q team to pump out the Q? You think he's part of the whole psyop, or do you think he got sucked into it? I mean,
no, he was in the beginning.
Okay, so he was in it from the beginning, and okay, I guess my main concern or my big question with him is if he's on the LARPing team. If shit, my microphone just fucking did something weird. You guys let me know if my microphone is sounding different or weird.
You're echoing.
Yeah, you're echoing.
All right, this fucking microphone. Hang on. Look, what I really want to know is if Jordan Sather is part of the LARPing team, if he's part of the crew, then why do you suppose that they chose him to go on Comedy Central to look like an ass? Because ultimately that's what happened on that.
Yeah, but I think that's to build some more divide between the people who think this Q thing is right and, you know, real.
Okay.
And you know,
go ahead, Gandalf. Go ahead.
Oh no. You go on. I'll tell you after.
Okay. Yeah. Well, there's speculation on why he would have been allowed to go on to Comedy Central. You're right. When you look at it, and if you analyze the whole sit down, as some commenters have been saying in my couple of videos on the comedy, on the roast, he didn't look too bad. He didn't. You know, the guy's a well-spoken kid. No, you know, he's not a.
No, but he was sat there with a group of really fringe conspiracy nutters.
Yes.
It was like, you know what? I'll be honest with you. When he let the two videos, him talking about just coming back from Hollywood and doing the Comedy Central gig, and then when he read all the comments on his video, and then he had to do a rebuttal to the comments, like a further assessment video the next day, responding to the responses, he had to call it, and he was genuinely still his cocky self. He knew that this was going to be a bomb, okay, and this is why he was allowed to do it. Now, his handlers, everyone talks about his handlers because he's from Gaia, and Corey Good is a ufologist as well as David Wilcock, okay? Those are the two of his handlers. The two handlers who drag him around to conference because he's above Majestics. He's one of those guys. He's going to be one of those leading us into the UFO age. That's going to be his gig after QAnon's gone. He's going to continue on with that post with Corey Good and David Wilcock. But Jordan knew that this was going to be a train wreck. He knew that it was going to be a train wreck. He didn't post anything follow up to his show. I followed it the other day. He didn't do a video on YouTube. He's just let that one go because he knew it was a train wreck and it was planned that way. And it's set to make the Trump QAnoners look like a bunch of idiots, and the conspiracy world as well. Whatever they touched on the other day, a lot of that stuff's going on, but they just made it look like a big joke. So next time you bring it up, they go, "What are you talking about?" Everyone's laughing about that.
See,
it's all part of the psyop.
My analysis of that whole Comedy Central thing was basically he came out looking remarkably well, like really well. And I don't imagine that anyone that's one of the QAnon followers is going to see that and think any less of the guy. If anything, they're going to think that he's more legitimate, because the people that he was sitting there beside were, flat. Well, like one of them believed that Trump was like QAnon was JFK Jr. or something like that.
Yeah.
And a lot of these crazier people that were sitting there beside him are going to make him look remarkably well in the eyes of the QAnon followers. And I think that'll actually wake up more people to the whole QAnon thing that are kind of skeptical. They'll go, oh wow, look, there's this really intelligent, bright young lad that's into this information. I more than anyone am watching Destroying the Illusion and analyzing his whole motives behind this whole thing, because more than anyone else, I'm really sketched about Jordan Sather. Like, you say that he's working with David Wilcock, and I'm only starting now to look into that. But David Wilcock, I knew he was full of shit back in 2009. And to have him working with Jordan Sather is sketchy beyond belief.
I agree.
The whole thing is this Jordan Sather kid is intelligent. And by watching his videos, I'm not even sure if he believes in QAnon as being real. I think that he's just really manipulating the people that are listening to him.
Yeah. Well said, Gandalf, because you left and I referred to it in one of my other follow-up videos. You referred to him as, I'm not so sure that he's not aware of what's going on, because he seems like a bright, intelligent, articulate kid, and he is, and he's great behind the camera. That's why he's such a good LARP. He's such a good they can have this guy sell ice to an Eskimo if they needed it.
Yes.
Mind you, that lately I'm a Canadian, so I shouldn't say Eskimos. I should say are indigenous people. Gandalf, right? Am I saying it right? I'm a Canadian.
Or
indigenous.
They're Inuits.
Inuits. Yeah, they are. But here in Canada, they call it indigenous, right? So anyway, I'm well aware of what's going on with the indigenous population. Jordan is well aware. Jordan is well aware of what he did and what he's doing right now. Okay, he's selling it, and we may need him to go up and sell some ice to the indigenous because of global warming. Because we need some water in British Columbia. That's what we need. The wildfires. We need some water. It's turning into Fort McMurray, the sequel. We'll get into that later on.
Lady Zaga would like for you to clarify who is saying who is the one saying that Corey Good and Wilcox are Sather's handler. Because he's on the Gaia, Lady Zaga. If you looked at that link I just put, he was on with George Nuri. He was on Seeker's Journey. So he's with the GAIA TV network, and Sather was on with Nuri?
And Corey Good. Yeah, he was, November 29th.
Wow.
Yeah, I actually saw him at a
30
conference.
minutes. I'll give it to you here.
Cock, actually.
You can there it is there. You can put so Jordan is with David Wilcock and Corey Good as his little manufactured handlers, and those guys are still alive and well. They've actually just posted August 21st on Gaia, because there was talk that Wilcock was no longer involved, but I see they've just put a video up there a few days ago, or 2 days ago, 3 days ago. So Gaia is it's a new age. It's new age. It's, they're all about new age, and Corey Wilcock and now the young Jordan Sather is a protege of theirs, are on Gaia, and they're going to be the mouthpieces for the transformation of the human body and soul. There you have it. That's Lady Zaga. That's why I say he's got connections there. So he's with Gaia, and those guys are with Gaia.
Well, I used to be into I used to watch a lot of Project Camelot back in like 2008, 2009, and I always would skip over that Project Camelot did with him, because there was something just really, really off about this David Wilcock character. And, you know, then I saw him get on Ancient Aliens back in like 2011 or so. And to have him now working with Jordan Sather just sends up all these red flags in my mind, man.
A big time. I'm right with you, Gandalf.
Oh yeah, big
exactly.
time.
Exactly. I mean, again, well said, Gandalf. I too followed in the days books, and when I saw him on Ancient Aliens, it was a real head scratcher. It was like, wait a minute, this guy on YouTube pumping this alien narrative is now featured on mainstream, if you could call it that. Kind of funny that Ancient Aliens is on History Channel.
Yeah, it went from like the Hitler network to the Ancient Aliens and Pawn Stars network.
Yeah. I remember noticing when History Channel changed their logo and added that cutesy little pyramid, cleverly hidden little pyramid down at the bottom corner of the H when they added that.
Well, where does it go from here? Because from what I'm seeing, it's kicked off 4chan, but now it's on YouTube. I did a video on this where I looked into the different channels that were pushing it, and I went down just the sidebar of the different videos, and I went through channel after channel that I had never seen before, and it seemed, and a lot of these channels have subscriber bases in the hundreds of thousands. I see it getting bigger and bigger and bigger as time goes on. Like, will the Trump administration have to acknowledge the QAnon is what I'm wondering at some point. Is this going to happen?
I'm going to doubt that they'll even give it lip service, but that's a guess.
See, they will most likely do that because if they don't acknowledge it, which is where they're probably going with it, which is the plan at this point in the Trump administration, because they know this is millions of their base. This is their most active members of the Trump administration's base online. They cannot acknowledge it. And I think if they do not acknowledge it, this gives it credence in the mind of the QAnon followers that it is real, because Trump is kind of giving a wink that he's not going to even mention it. Like, it just seems it's so contrived at this point. Like, the whole QAnon thing just seems that it's I go in and out if it's something related to the Trump administration itself, trying to drum up the support of the people that still are 100% on the Trump train at this point.
You know, I almost titled tonight's show "Breadcrumbs for Truthers."
That would have been good, bro.
And I was having this, as many of you who know, who listen, my mom is, I'm lucky to have my mom as someone who I can count among the awakened, although she's new to being awake and she doesn't have all the details. Her and I have some interesting conversations rather than fighting like a lot of people do with their friends and family when they try to talk about these subjects. And the other day I was trying to impress upon her that the powers that be, our social engineering masters, how it's actually in their interest to inject conspiracy, like, you know, the flat earth psyop. It's in their interest to create false rabbit holes for those of us who are paying attention to go chase down and chase our tails around. It's a way for them to lead us around by the nose. And one of the things I was trying to impress upon her is that all throughout history, all throughout human history, there have always been somebody. There's always a percentage of the population that just doesn't buy into whatever official narrative, right? Whatever the government has to say, whatever the officials have to say, whatever the story is, there's always somebody who's going to say, nah, that's probably bullshit, right? And then, so there's always that crowd that are skeptic. And in this case, in our day and age, we're conspiracy people. We're tinfoil hatters, and so it's absolutely in their best interest to inject things in the narrative for those of us who like to think and dig and muck rake and pick shit apart and be critical. It just keeps us busy. It's like the conspiracy water cooler.
Yeah, and it seemed that, like, back during the election 2016, Donald Trump even went on the Trump went on the Alex Jones show. These people are acknowledging that there's a huge amount of their supporters are on these alternative information streams of it. You know what I mean? Like, it's just so hard to even know anymore. Like, I'm confused by exactly who QAnon is. Like, these people that are pushing it, like on YouTube and whatnot, but then it seems that it's at some level it's connected to the Trump administration itself.
It's almost like half, I would say, maybe half of the entire truth community is actually created by the people who are trying to control the truth community.
I think, Aaron, you're right. I think what's happened is they've started having to infiltrate LARPs into the YouTube community. It's appearing that way more and more, that we've got more actors coming in. And where are they coming in? They're coming in over to the truth side, because this, with what they did with Pizzagate, with what they did with Pizzagate, and then they've got the Donut Gate going on, and then you got the Voodoo Donuts. Like, it's one or two people that are been sent into our community, which is a little piece of YouTube. But it looks like they've infiltrated it. They've infiltrated it with a bunch of LARPs, and now we're sitting back here going, "Whoa, where did these people come from?" Because I've been around on YouTube since its inception, and I didn't put a channel together until 2013. But I was certainly watching YouTube. I was watching the William Cooper videos, and even back then InfoWars. And once I started doing videos, of course, you're calling yourself a truther and you're in the truth community. My first video was on MH370, looking at all the disinformation about that plane going to Diego Garcia. And that was me. That was the beginning of me. And then I've watched truthers fight. I've been part of it. I've seen it come and go, but I tried to stay out of it. But when this QAnon thing went silly putty, that was it for me. I said, whoa, because this whole, with what's going on with Lift the Veil and bullying and censorship, and with these two guys, this Vig and Mikey, and introduced us to Cappy. And now these two guys are like, one of them, especially Cappy, he's going crazy. He's got Truth Inferno's got his posts from his friggin' Periscope. And these guys are supposed to be true victims, but they're victim LARPs. And people keep saying to me, "Get the message out, Mark, if we don't allow their stories." I believe in global pedophilia. I know there's a problem. I've put videos out. There is a problem. I worked in a prison. I know there's a problem.
Yes.
But they're sending in LARPs to do the narrative, and they're making it look like a bunch of idiots. They made the Pizzagate with this guy that shot up the pizza place, the Comet Pizza.
That was a game changer.
They're making everybody look like a bunch of idiots, and then you got Jordan Sather going on stone-faced.
It's worse than that, bro. Not idiots. Alex Jones already did a sufficient job making us all look like idiots. The pizza shooter, that made us look dangerous.
See,
yes.
there's a timeline in all these conspiracy-related topics that go mainstream. So it started with Flat Earth, I would say, in 2015. And that got mainstream news coverage. It was everywhere. People talking about how, there's all these crazy people into the flat Earth. And that a lot of people, like me included, like, we don't trust NASA, like, in every single thing that they do. But then that people kind of went too deep into that rabbit hole where nothing in space is real. But then,
yes.
then about a year later, then Pizzagate came out of nowhere, and people were talking about how there's a giant pedophile ring being run out of a pizza shop in Washington, D.C. And then that went mainstream with the shooter. And now it's a year after that, QAnon goes mainstream. And I don't know if you guys know about this, but there was the guy who blocked the bridge, the Hoover Dam, and he was demanding that Trump release the emails or some crazy shit, QAnon follower, and that went mainstream. So it seems that the conspiracy-related topics that get big have a sketchy origin all the time.
Yeah, and when they get big and they make it to mainstream, it's always spun. The narrative is always spun in the direction of making us look dangerous. Because now we've got, as you guys well aware, Justin Woolley of Counter Tyranny Ops was a big time truther, completely off the rails, killed his mom, and that story is just fucking bonkers. Makes no sense. Professor Doom is back in prison for stabbing somebody five times. Thorn is in and out of jail for stalking Pastor what's his name, Frank Pomeroy, and the pizza shop, the YouTube shooter.
Jeez.
Then we've got the YouTube shooter, that chick who went off the rails because apparently she was demonetized. So making us look crazy. It's like the comment that I left Mark the other day on his video last week, and I listed all these people out. Alex Jones has sufficiently made us all look batshit crazy, and but that wasn't enough. Because now they got us tied into mental health disorder. They're publishing articles coming out of universities now about how people who follow conspiracies have mental deficiencies, and they have, oh my god, you should read some of these fucking articles, dude. Just bizarre and laughable and really dangerous, because it's making us look dangerous. They're making us look dangerous. I really
Yeah, and that seems maybe that it was the main MO of the entire thing, to make anyone looking into this information seem like they're totally out of their mind, dangerous people. It's just strange with the whole thing that happened with the Comet Pizza or whatever, where the guy went in there with the gun, then a guy loaded with guns stopped traffic on the Hoover Dam for 2 hours, and he was into QAnon. It just seems that these crazy people come out of the woodwork, and they're the people that you see on the news. You won't ever hear any of our voices on the mainstream news.
Now, I don't know if you guys have heard, but now, out of all these wildfires out in California, there's a story going around that one of the biggest fires of all of the wildfires is actually being blamed on a conspiracy guy.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah, I say that all of these presumed, from Justin Woolley to the YouTube shooter to the whole thing, they're all manufactured bullshit stories. That is my estimate.
Well,
okay.
We're all tied in with these people. Like, I got Richie from Boston commenting on some of my older videos before he went big. I got Justin Woolley on my channel commenting on my videos before the whole fucking thing went down with him. Like, we're all connected with these people.
Dude, I never visit Richie from Boston's channel, and yet over on my homepage, where that little window that says related channels, he's in my related channels window.
Always.
He's always in there, and I don't know. Yep. I have no control over who's in that window.
Yeah, you know what, Aaron, you should stop talking about chemtrails, and you won't be associated with them. Hey, before we go off, and haven't we been there with Richie though? Who are we on right now? We're on everybody else. Richie, what's Richie's got to say about QAnon? Don't know, don't subscribe. I want to talk about, later on, we were going to talk about the PSYOPs, but Gandalf, we're going to go right back to this mental health and how they're making it an issue, right? Aaron, you're going to have to go and prove you're not a silly Billy to get a gun license or own a gun.
Or a driver's license.
So we had, speaking of driving, we had the Toronto van attack happened on April 23rd, 2018, okay? And then on July 22nd, an infamous July 22nd, we had the Toronto Danforth shooting. The perpetrator, Hussein, was born to Canadian parents of Pakistani origin, according to people who knew the family. In a public statement, Hussein's parents said he was psychotic and depressed throughout his life. In 2010, Hussein told a friend that he was seeing a psychiatrist about these problems. A former teacher described him as very disturbed and recounted having to take him to a psychiatric facility after he started carving into his face with a blade and a pencil sharpener. Another former teacher called the police after Hussein said, allegedly, without prompting, that it would be really cool to kill someone. His family had been struggling through the death of his sister in a car accident and his brother's ongoing coma over an overdose and a stroke. According to his neighbor, Hussein was not religious and declined to participate in Friday's prayers. In 2010, Hussein was investigated by the Toronto Police Service under the Mental Health Act. On July 24th, the Ministry of Public Safety said there is currently no connection between him and national security. He was not on a federal watch list. Hussein, after he killed the two ladies on Toronto's Danforth community and took out a bunch of other people, 17 to 59 injured, he was killed by self-inflicted gunshot wound. So he can't tell his story, but apparently everyone else can. So you see how they spin it? Like, are you kidding me? A former teacher described him as very disturbed. Like, where do they get this stuff? Who writes the CIA? These guys are great on Wiki, I'm telling you. But I want to go at the end, when we're finished tonight. I want to have my say on the Toronto Danforth shooting because I've got some numbers and I'm gonna want to screen share. Okay?
Oh, for sure, man. Like, see, the thing with all these shootings, like, you know what I mean, man. Like, I just try to avoid it altogether now because, you know, talking about it's not gonna help anyone. Because, like, man, how many channels have we seen be removed by talking about any of these shootings? Truth Virus gave up because of this shit. Like, he just gave up. How many times did Truth Virus get his channel removed? I think it was like 5 or I think he was at 8 or 9 or 10 before he finally stopped making videos.
Did.
You know what's sad, right? You know what's sad? Yeah. It's sad that we have to do a self-censorship because I'm not saying hoax, I'm not saying false flag, I'm not saying psyop. When I walk you guys through what I did in 10 minutes when I did want to do a video on the Toronto shooting, because I am a Torontonian and it is worth covering because there are some connections there that we'll discuss later on. But I'm not going to call it anything other than you can just see my presentation and you can come to your own conclusions when I finish it at the end of the show. So that's my little well, you're getting a world premiere of what I think about the Toronto shooting. How's that sound, Rufus? Okay.
Awesome.
Sounds good, except I missed most of what you said. Right as you were reading that article about Hussein and the Toronto police and his mental problems, and my computer started glitching. My Internet Explorer stopped working, and it took a while to recover web page, so I missed everything after that.
And I didn't even say anything. I was just crossing my fingers. I was like, "Oh fuck! Please let him get back on before this time."
Yeah, before it times out.
Yeah, really.
But yeah, go bring me up.
So you didn't
do a quick recap, Mark, because I missed a lot of what you said at the end.
Okay, yeah. So basically, I'm going to flip back over. I'll just quickly, basically what they said, and I was being sarcastic, but they talked about Hussein, the shooter in the Toronto Danforth shooting, they were saying that his parents said he had psychotic and suffered from depression his whole life. And a former teacher said he was also very disturbed, that he'd carve his own face with the blade of a pencil sharpener. And his family struggled with him after the death of his sister in a car accident and the ongoing coma of his another brother. So the guy's family is full of, like, and then he goes out and shoots everybody. But in the finality, it said, in 2010, Hussein was investigated by the Toronto police under the Mental Health Act. On July 24th, 2 days after he went on the rampage, Ministry of Public Safety said there is currently no connection between him and national security. So what I was telling was what you were saying and what Gandalf was saying about mental health. They're making mental health such an issue now in all these shootings, right? So here you go. This guy was just a crazed immigrant of Pakistani parents. So, you know, and it happened in Toronto's Danforth, which is very Greek. So there's the old, you know, you're pitting community versus community when you say that the Pakistani kid went in and shot up Danforth. And Toronto Danforth is like a very, very popular place. It's like a whole row of good Greek food.
Now I'm hungry.
So that's what I was saying, Aaron. I was saying mental illness.
Yeah, that's we saw the writing on the wall almost 2 years ago, especially when Justin Woolley went off the rails, the pizza shop guy or the pizza shooter. We saw the writing on the walls back then. They were talking mental health with all the shooters, mall shooters and school shooters, and and they were throwing that mental health angle in there all the way back, almost at least for 2 years. And so now they're tying mental health in to conspiracy people, anybody who subscribes or even looks at anything, you know, conspiracy related. So it's pretty clear that crazy isn't good enough. Dangerous is the new normal.
Yep.
And my jaw almost hit the floor last week, and I briefly covered this last week about the wildfire. I forget, they actually gave it a name. This particular fire, it's got a name, and I can't remember what, Hellfire or some shit like that. One of the biggest individual fires out in California is blamed on an arson who is a conspiracy theorist.
Like they just pin it right to that one guy, and the guy just happens to be a conspiracy theorist. You think they change the narrative once in a while, wouldn't you? Like how that?
You know, we're such a small demographic, isn't it odd? Isn't it obvious? Isn't it obvious because of the? I mean, let's look for a moment. This demographic of people, this corner of the internet and of the world in general, who are interested in and subscribe to various conspiracy theories or whatever. Call it truthers. I hate that term, but what lack of a better term, this truther community is such an incredibly small demographic compared to the rest of society. And isn't it odd that how many shooters and now wildfire arsons are conspiracy people? Do you know what I mean? Did my microphone drop off? It just being quiet.
Yeah, only conspiracy people do things. Right. No, I hear me.
Shit, what's going on here?
You can't hear me?
I hear you. You're kind of cutting in and out, Amy. Mark is muted. Gandalf is muted.
Weird. I don't know what's going on.
Gandalf said he'll be right back. About 5 minutes ago, he said that. I don't know. Okay. Lady Zaga said she can hear us. So, okay.
Well, that's good. Yeah, my CPU was in 100% mode there briefly, but now it's back to
Good point, Scooby. Good point. You don't see a flat earther shooting up NASA.
Yeah, really.
Good point. Good point.
Maybe they should. Oh, no, just kidding.
No, we don't. I mean, look, we're already lumped in with flat earthers.
Yeah, we are.
So we don't need flat earthers going crazy. Let's not give them any ideas. Of course,
No,
they've
no.
probably already got ideas in the works there.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
You know,
clearly an agenda going on.
It's not surprising me that I'm glitching and having problems on the stream. That's pretty typical when we get into a serious subject. And although we really haven't uncovered anything explosive so far, Brian at High Impact Vlogs, the old High Impact Flicks channel, it's his alternate. He highlighted a channel. It's called H3H3 Productions is the name of the channel. Now, these guys have 6 million subscribers.
Oh, my God.
And they were doing a live stream, and their live stream was shut down, and they got a strike on their channel almost instantly as soon as they were talking about, as soon as they started talking about Alex Jones.
Huh.
Because as you all know, Alex Jones has just been kicked off of virtually all the social media platforms.
Yep.
And they were doing a live stream and they were talking about him, and they played a tiny little clip. In fact, it's the same clip. It's the exact same clip that many channels have used. It's Alex Jones clip, including Thunderfoot, another big channel, 700,000 or 800,000 subscribers, where Alex Jones is ranting where he says Mueller raped kids in front of people. And literally this channel called H3H3 Productions, huge fucking channel. They were doing a live stream and they got killed right in the middle of their live stream as soon as they played that clip and started talking about Alex. And by the way, they were actually in support of Alex being kicked off of the social media sites. So that was, I don't know, kind of strange. But we've had it happen here. I remember last year we were interviewing Charles Koss, and I was trying to do a screen share to show some images from a documentary. And I got notification right in the middle of the stream. A damn window popped up and warned me to stop screen sharing because it was copyright material. And then right after I got that notice and I stopped sharing it, my ability to screen share was killed for the rest of that stream.
Yep.
You remember that, Amy?
Oh, yeah. That was weird.
So it must be something embedded into the system, because if you try and watch a lot of illegal movies that you're not allowed to be watching on YouTube, like Hollywood stuff, a lot of these people that upload, they'll either reverse image the movie itself,
right,
or they'll put the movie slightly off the screen and have like star patterns twinkling in the background. The YouTube algorithm is basically able to find anything that's blacklisted and take it down immediately. And that's what I'm thinking happened to H3H3 was this Alex Jones clip was probably in the algorithm as it's like a no-go. You cannot put this on YouTube because it's Alex Jones. And that's probably what happened to them. I don't think it was like someone deleted it that was watching the H3H3 stream that works at YouTube. You know what I mean?
So I've got, Mark, did you say you have like a presentation that you're gonna give us here shortly?
Yeah, at the end.
Okay.
When we're finished talking about LARPs and Q, and we can go into any late psyops that you want to talk about. You had, but I want to talk about I don't want to talk about my little connections with Toronto and going back to the Invictus games, and you've heard me talk about that before. I've got a good Invictus Games connection between Toronto, Orlando, and the Danforth shooting. So I want to save that for the end because I'm going to run through about maybe 10, 12 windows.
Okay. Well, before we move on, since I brought up AJ, just curious, what are your thoughts on how that all what's going on? What are your thoughts on that debacle?
Okay, so we all know. I mean, I've had 5 strikes and hanging on. Are you still on your 2 strikes?
Me?
Are you on your main channel? Did you lose your main channel totally, or what? Did that go down?
No, it didn't. And right now, I'm currently strike free. That's why I'm hosting the show.
Yeah.
Yeah, but his first first channel was taken down completely.
Yeah, my first channel was taken down. And real quick, let me just say something to somebody in the chat. The Eye, and I want to say something to the Eye. I got news for you, the Eye. We are targeted. There's absolutely no question. And I will tell you, he mentioned there's some tall stories being told. I'm going to tell you another tall story, and this is a fucking truth. I had a video that I had up for a couple of hours, and then I took it down, and 3 fucking weeks later, I got a strike for that video that was deleted. It had been deleted 3 weeks, and I got a strike, and everybody knows it. Anyway.
Oh, I'm just going to add this in now that you mentioned that. I think I mentioned this before, but nothing is permanently deleted off YouTube. Even any of your videos that you put up and you delete them yourself, none of that is permanently deleted. And the reason is people have shared child porn on YouTube. People have shared grotesque like murders that they themselves have committed. So for legal reasons, YouTube leaves these things in their data bank so they can simply re-bring any of this stuff back up. Even if you think it's deleted, nothing's deleted. So that's probably what happened. They searched maybe a keyword, Ruth.
Well, something I was going to say to you a minute ago is that everything that we say on this show is automatically goes voice to text, and then it gets run through the algorithms from there. So, you know, certain things that you say on here are going to be flagged or marked or identified, looked at, scrutinized, whatever.
When you go back to InfoWars,
but let's go back to Mark. Mark, go ahead and give me your answer. What's your take on the Alex Jones thing?
Yeah, if you go back and even Nathan at Lift the Veil, when you get a strike, when you get 1 strike, we know. I mean, I don't live stream. I may look into live streaming later, and I might have to go for some super chats and some $5 donations to get a new mic / Amy. I'm joking. But when you do live stream, you have to have 0 strikes on your channel. So you can't live stream if you have 1 strike. If you have 1 strike on your channel, you lose the right to live stream. Okay. And sometimes you'll even get only a 15-minute allowance on video screening. So if you do a video of more than 15 minutes, it won't upload. It'll upload to the 15-minute mark, and that's it. So those are going to be your penalties on strike 1. Strike 2, you have a 2-week suspension, and you've also lost your live streaming, and you can't post for 2 weeks. So, and you don't even have access, we all know, you don't even have access to your YouTube channel. You can sit there and go and answer comments, but you can't do anything on your channel. So my take on, he kept telling us he's had a strike here, he's had a strike there, he's had a strike here. If you have a strike, I don't know how many, he didn't have that many channels that he could live stream on. I know InfoWars had probably, how many channels, 3 or 4? There's no way he'd be able to live stream if he was hit with strikes. So those were fake strikes. Alex Jones has been part of this whole truther psyop agenda since day 1. I watched him. I saw him come into play too. I'm way back then too. I'll age myself. I know Alex Jones from when he was What was he, Bill Hicks? Yeah, we all know that. Bill Hicks. What a great character. George Webb meet Bill Hicks, eh? Oh my God. Anyway, I don't want to go there, but controlled opposition, you know, like the crumbs that QAnon, the bakers feed you, you'd get some crumbs and then you can go and make your cake or make your donut. You can have a few crumbs and make your voodoo. Or get lost in the forest. So basically what's happened in my view, is it's the beginning of the Great Purge, again, the Great Purge. So if they're saying if we can shut down Alex Jones, we can shut down Global Agenda and, you know, the tiny players. And you just have to all behave and continue to self-censor yourself.
Yep.
So that's why it's what Gandalf and I were saying. You put a hoax or a false flag in your title, it's the algorithms are just going to put you to the, you know, you're not even going to get into the pit of hell. You won't even be able to hit the pit of hell. You'll be that far below the surface. So you can't use it anymore. I mean, I heard that even the hashtag QAnon and the hashtag Q, they're not even popping up in the algorithms anymore, and they've been demonetized. So that's my take. And then now, unfortunately, we're seeing Hagman and Hagman the other night come out and say that they've got a strike and that they can't live stream anymore. So you've got these secondary feeder channels that, you know, are now gonna get the hits and the strikes.
Well, let me know when Young Turks get a strike.
Yeah, it's interesting that a lot of these channels go around strike free, right? It's very interesting, very interesting. And then the day before the Cappy, the Cappy interview, Isaac Cappy interview with LTV, you had SGT report and Bill Smith, who's another YouTuber, UFOologist. Those channels went down, and they're both big Q channels. And apparently, SGT was lining up Cappy to interview him, and then his channel mysteriously went down for 24, 36 hours. And Bill Smith went down, and he wanted to interview Cappy as well. So it was the stage was set for LTV to present us with Cappy, and then when he presented us with Cappy, all of a sudden you had Jordan Sather from QAnon the next day interviews Cappy. The following day after Jordan's interview, Cappy is interviewed on Jordan Sather's Destroying the Illusion. So there was a relationship brewing there, and that's Cappy has also said that he let the NSA know that he was involved in this Seth Green child pedophilia allegation. He said he let them know on the 8chan board.
Yeah.
And that's when LTV said, did you talk to Thomas? And if you recall, he said, did you talk to Thomas? And he said, yeah, I've talked to Thomas. And Liz Crokin is going to be my media advisor as I go ahead and start doing interviews. And Thomas is the Thomas Schoenberger, which I said earlier. He's the one that hijacked from 4chan and took it to 8chan. And Schoenberger is of the Cicada 3301. And he was DeFango, who is part of Cicada 3301, had said that he lived with Thomas Schoenberger for a few months. And Schoenberger is the one that Jack Posobiec, who hasn't released his information on Q yet. He's got some documents on Q, and he's the one that outed Thomas Schoenberger as Q, the money behind Q and one of the brains behind Q, on August 8th. So that's the history there. And now you've got the LTVs connected. This is your connections, and these channels are all going to start getting picked off one by one, and it's all for the crying of censorship. But they'll all get their channels back again. I mean, SGT was back up the next day.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. SGT actually got pretty triggered that people were actually calling him out that he took his own channel down.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did get triggered.
Yeah, like these people follow a formula. So, like, Destroying the Illusion took down his own channel to get street cred. Then SGT took down his channel to get street cred.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Call for an Uprising also did at one point, took down his main. So, and then they always start up an alternate backup channel that gets maybe like a few, like maybe 20,000 subs, but then they just upload the same content as they did to their main channel. Like, I don't know, is it like a rite of passage, or is it just like these people know that they've been called out all over the place as being like full of shit, so they want to get this street cred off the people that are kind of skeptical about them?
I think it's probably a mixture of a lot of reasons. I think street cred is a big factor.
Yeah.
It kind of reminds me of the old days when in the 60s, Timothy Leary was arrested and harassed by the cops and authorities, and then turned loose again, and all of a sudden he had all kinds of credibility when it turns out he was CIA all along.
Yep.
So they've been infiltrating and controlling and pushing to the forefront different voices, different faces to the masses to basically get you suckered into these controlled opposition people since the 60s. Who knows how long before that?
Okay, so are you guys of the opinion that AJ took his shit down? Are you guys? What do you think of the fact that AJ was kicked off of virtually every social media platform within about 12 hours?
Honestly, no, I don't think he did.
I think it was part of the plan. He knew it was coming.
Well, you know his numbers were down, right? I mean, look, AJ.
He knew it was coming.
AJ is a multi-million-dollar operation. He's a corporation. He's got lots of employees. He's got one hell of a studio. He's got a team of researchers and production people.
Yep.
He's a big operation, like literally a very big operation. However, his numbers are down. And in fact, I'm going to do a screenshot. I want to show you guys something here.
Okay.
I have a screenshot that you all might be interested in since we're on this particular subject. Let me see.
Honestly, in my opinion, I think that Alex Jones's time was kind of up. He had already played his part for enough years. Most of the so-called alternative media have seen through him for years at this point. So
yeah, true.
It was just like they have a new stack of cards that they're ready to play, new fake alternative media channels that they're going to push to the forefront now.
Yep. I think you're right. I think that since most people were going, oh, Alex Jones, he's a shill. He wasn't serving any major purpose in the position he was in, but he could make it look like it's just so easy. They snap their fingers and you're gone on every platform in the universe.
Well, from a mafia perspective, it definitely sends a message. But look at this. This is Social Blade. This is a screenshot, an image from Social Blade. This is a comparison of Alex Jones, the Young Turks, Fox News, and CNN. And these are their current ratings as of going from October 2015 all the way up to last month, July of this year. Now, at the very top, sorry, overexpanded that. At the very top, we have Alex Jones' channel. You can see he peaks at around October, just October, November, December in 2016. Alex Jones had a big peak, and he's been in steady decline ever since then. Okay.
I love that. He hit rock bottom there in July of 18.
Yeah, right.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he took a hell of a... that might have been... What, didn't he go down briefly? Didn't his channel go down temporarily, like SGT and Richie from Boston? And
I don't
maybe
recall
that's what,
hearing about that.
maybe that's what I think. I remember that his channel was temporarily down. Maybe that's what that downward spike that you noticed.
Yeah, that could be that
But
happened.
so these guys are crashing. These fake alternative media sources are crashing. They
are crashing.
So they must be coming out with all these new people that they're going to be rolling out now, and these people are no longer even useful.
Now check this out. If you remember, 2 or 3 weeks ago, I brought up the fact that YouTube is investing like $25 million into the mainstream media channels. Do you guys remember that when I brought that up? And Facebook is doing it too. They're investing tens and tens of millions of dollars into helping these mainstream media channels get a foothold in the alternative media network. You guys remember me covering this a couple weeks ago?
Yeah, not long ago, man.
Yeah, 2 or 3 weeks ago. YouTube, I think, is investing something like $25 million to help, CNN and Fox. These are huge corporations, multi-million-dollar corporations, hundreds of millions of dollar corporations, huge. It's not like they don't have the money or the means or the manpower or the technical ability and all the people on board to make it happen. And yet, for some reason, YouTube is actually going to invest to help them make it happen. So look at these stats. We have Alex Jones on the very top. The Young Turks are second down here. And the Young Turks peak at around January, February, March of 2016. And they're in decline big time. Not as bad, because the numbers on the left-hand side of this bar graph, like Alex Jones goes from 1, 2, and 3 million. So Alex Jones, this is a daily average, by the way, or maybe it's a weekly. I don't. Average views per day. Okay, this is a daily average. So Alex Jones was getting almost 3 million hits per day in October 16, while the Young Turks were well over 3 million because their bar graph is scaled different. They're up to 3 million as their top bar. And you can see that their high peak goes over 3 million. And yet they have now declined back under 2 million. Now look at the third one down. Third one down is Fox News. Look at that fucking bar graph as it moves from October 15 up, and then look around January of this year, and right below is CNN. Look what happened between January of this year for CNN and Fox News. Look at how they have spiked.
Why the hell have they?
And by the way, CNN's bar graph is the same thing. If you look on the far left-hand side, they go up to 6 million, so they're kicking everybody's ass. And Fox News, their bar graph goes up to 2 million.
So InfoWars and Young Turks have both had a steep dive in viewers. CNN and Fox have had a sharp increase in viewers, and it all took place at the same time.
Yes, right around January of this year. Now, Alex and the Young Turds, they've been declining slowly over time. They didn't drop off, but Fox and CNN took a huge spike at exactly the same time.
Yeah. Well, I can't imagine why anybody would want to watch them either. I don't know why anyone would want to watch any of those on the list. Just can't fathom.
So it could be that AJ ran his course, and maybe they were having financial trouble, and maybe before they went into debt, they decided to get out. And they staged a big coup and made it look like, oh, the man took us down. I don't know. All I know is that when you look at these stats, there's some really interesting information to glean from these particular graphs here.
Yes.
And it not only shows that both the Young Turks and Alex Jones are both down, while Young Turks are still above what Alex was pulling in, that their numbers are down significantly. And it's this is beyond obvious right here, January 2018, the massive spike that CNN and Fox has pulled in.
Wow.
Yeah, they could have maybe paid these guys to maybe suppress Young Turks and Alex Jones slightly, because Young Turks is the left-wing version of CNN. That's apparently alt media, and Alex Jones is now nothing more than the Fox News version of the alternative media. And maybe Fox and CNN just wanted these guys to be suppressed slightly. Maybe they paid YouTube or Google maybe $100 million each. Who knows what the actual story is behind that?
Okay, so check this out. This is terms of service right here, and I want you to guess where this terms of service comes from. I'll read this quickly, and then you guys tell me where you think it comes from. You will not solicit anyone to buy or sell products or services or to make donations of any kind. You will not include links to products in your status updates, comments, articles, or groups. You will not post anything libelous, defamatory, harmful, threatening, harassing, abusive, invasive of another's privacy, hateful, racially or ethnically objectionable, or otherwise illegal. You will not make threats to other users or people not associated with the site. If you violate these rules, your posts and or username will be deleted. Remember, you are a guest here. It is not censorship. If you violate the rules and your post is deleted, all civilizations have rules, and if you violate them, you can expect to be ostracized from the tribe. Anybody want to take a stab at whose terms of agreement that is?
What the fuck? I don't even want to guess, man. Is that YouTube?
Anybody else before I answer?
Go ahead.
It's Alex Jones. That's InfoWars terms of service right there.
for the InfoWars website.
Yeah.
It's scary. I was gonna Jones.
Okay, go back to that for a second.
Let me on the program.
That says a lot right there.
What? Okay, that's fucking beyond sketchy, man.
You will not post.
You could be
anything.
nailed for anything. Did you hear that they wouldn't let me on the Prison Planet forum?
Oh, no way.
Yes, way.
Before you
I even got. Well, I've been working. Yeah, exactly. I signed up, but they had a clue who I was. I'm pretty sure. I've been working the solution now for quite some time, like over a decade. And when I went to sign up to post my stuff, they kept saying that something was emailed to me, but nothing ever was received. And I finally, I emailed a bunch of people, never got answers. I finally found a phone number that I got an answering machine on, and I left a message. Nothing. They would not acknowledge me or let me near that forum.
Oh my God.
I found that interesting. Yes.
Well, that sounds like 153 news, doesn't it?
Very similar. Did I tell you? I don't remember if I told you. But out of the blue, I was deleted from them just because I hadn't shown up for like 3 months.
Well, that entire operation's just about as sketchy as Alex Jones is at this point.
Oh, yeah.
So Mark had brought up Praying Medic, and I've got a screen grab here from Praying Medic channel. This is the kind of fucking retarded shit that Q has been putting out. And here's a screen grab from Praying Medic, who currently has 132,000 subscribers. This video has 205,000 views.
Shit.
So this is a Q post. Fellow patriots, what you're about to learn should not only scare you, but intensify your resolve to take back control, and in brackets, freedom. The information that will become public will further demonstrate the criminal and corrupt, pure evil abuse of power that the Hussein administration undertook in joint efforts with domestic and foreign dignitaries. The snowball has begun rolling. There is no stopping it now. D5! Stay the course and trust the plan. Protective measures are in place. Remain brave. We knew this day would come.
It's just kind of, so insane.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, go ahead, Global.
Go ahead, Mark.
Yeah. So the two in tonight's video, I talked about Praying Medic and Word Drummer. Okay, the one that just went up on my channel as we're talking here. So the Praying Medic. When I looked at Praying Medic, he's been around several years, but he's always been a Christian. He's been the Christian side of things. He's a believer in Christianity. But when you look at his most recent four, he talks with Dan Duval here, and Dan Duval is from Bride Ministries, and Dan Duval has recently come under fire for promoting Luciferian and Satanism within his church, and he had two ladies that are doing a blog, and it's in my video now, and they're calling him out, saying that he's teaching satanic overtures in his church. Well, praying Medic is with Dan Duval all the time, so that's one of the guys he hangs with and that does interviews with. But when you look at Praying Medic's history on Q, it didn't start until January 14th. And when he started it, what I said in the video was he started by doing, QAnon for beginners type of videos. And then the posts from QAnon, and then he breaks them down. So when he came out on January 14th, he was talking about all these, these posts. And he said that he wasn't a believer in QAnon, and his wife was more interested in it. And then all of a sudden he started taking to it, because that's what a true patriot has to do. But he's walking around saying he's a medic, but he was an emergency, an EMS medic. So that with the helicopter, that's just for his own propaganda, because he's not. He was a medic, but he said that he was brought towards the light because he started praying over people who were dying at accident scenes, and he said that when he got the power to actually bring people back to life, that's when he knew he could be he's another self-appointed prophet, and that's what he was before he became a QAnonist. So he's one of the QTubers that they're using to push the Christian narrative. And that's why he's such a nice guy. And you see him on all these late night channels, and he's got the nice tie on. He's well coiffed, and he speaks well, and he's sitting there looking good under the TV lights. But the guy's a big fraud, and he hangs around with the Luciferians of the world. And that's Praying Medic. And this guy is good, but he is not so good after all. When you look into his past, he's a scam artist. He's a YouTube money maker. That's Praying Medic. But he's another one that's been sold. He got bought and paid for. Another guy that got bought and paid for.
Well, I spent a little bit of time studying Edward Bernays, among other things, when it comes to social engineering. And when you learn about things like homophones, for instance, homophone, for those who don't know, it's not an irrational fear of gay people. It's words that sound the same, like WRIGHT, right, and right, RIGHT. Those two words mean completely different things, and yet they're phonic. The pronunciation is exactly the same. And when it comes to propaganda, Edward Bernays style propaganda, in fact, I've got a video on my channel. It's one of my early videos. I think I reposted it on this new channel. This Harvard undergraduate was doing his doctorate thesis on homophones and how they can be used to influence people he did an experiment where he had a classroom, a giant class, a couple hundred students, and they were all volunteers. And the task was to write a somewhat of a long essay. And no, if I remember, maybe the essay, maybe it didn't have a limit. The task was, they told like half of the class, they told them to put their laptops directly in front of them, and then they told the other half of the class to move their laptops slightly to the right. Okay, so it was a little bit uncomfortable for them to contort their bodies a little bit because their laptops were a little bit to their right. And what he found was the students who had been asked to move their laptop to the right actually wrote more in their essay, despite the fact that it was a harder, less comfortable position to write. And it's because of the way homophones work in the mind. Okay. So they were asked to move their laptops to the right and then write an essay. And those are the students who actually spent more, they had more words, they wrote more in their essay. And so what I wanted to highlight here was the way this QAnon post is written, which is going to lead me to another question I have for you, Mark, and Gandalf and Amy, panel, whatever. The question is, do you think that QAnon is a group or an individual?
I'm starting to lean towards a group.
Oh no, QAnon is a group. It's not an individual. Yes. Never was. It was sold that way, and then if you, I mean, the crew on Comedy Central pretty well said the other night right off the bat. They go, no, it's not one person. It's a group. It's a group of people. So everyone thought at the beginning it was an intel. I mean, when Jerome Corsi came on board with Tracy Beans in January, they brought in Pamphlet and On's wife and Tracy are buddies. Obviously, they needed to reach out to somebody, and Corsi was the one they went and brought in January. And Corsi's the one that would come in and say that it's a military intel. That's who Q is. So everyone went, "Oh, Dr. Jerome Corsi is saying that he knows it's related right to the white the Oval Office. This person is totally the real deal. It's a high up military ranking officer." And that was Corsi's narrative right at the start. So then, boom, everyone was thinking, "Oh, we've got an intel." And then they had the picture outside the plane with Trump's signature. It was like the psyop was being pushed. The psyop was being pushed right away in January. They started bringing in their key players that would be pumping it out on YouTube. And Q was truly a YouTube invention. But don't get me wrong, there are big players behind this for sure. There was lots of money.
I totally agree. And either Jerome Corsi is a complete fucking idiot, which I doubt, or he's completely full of shit. Either way, he's full of shit. Whether he believes what he says or not is irrelevant. Yeah. He's completely full of shit. I reluctantly, because I knew we were going to be talking about this today. Today, I reluctantly listened to a Jerome Corsi interview on QAnon. It's about 4 months old, and he said in this interview that he is almost sure that he knows who Q is, as if it was one person.
Yeah. Well, that's how they promoted it, Aaron, right from the start, that Q was an insider, and now they've all just sloughed off. No, it's a group thing. It's a group. You know what? Well, you've lost your whole point on having an insider telling America that everything's okay, to trust the plan. That's what they kept.
The best part,
and then you've got.
Oh, I was just going to say the best part of that whole Corsi thing was when him and Alex Jones were saying that they had back communications with QAnon himself.
Yeah.
That was hilarious.
Yeah.
So if I analyze this post, I'm not going to pick it all apart completely, but let's just read the first sentence again. What you're about to learn should not only scare you, but intensify your resolve to take back control. Now, if I just analyze that one sentence, what you are about to learn, and stop right there. That's a thought in all by itself. What you're about to learn, that primes the brain that something juicy is coming. Okay, that first 5 words, 6 words, what you're about to learn, before you even get, as you're reading, before you even get past that word, your brain is already primed to receive something that you are now presupposing is important. So what you're about to learn should not only scare you, bam, right there is another set of words that's designed to trigger your brain, should not only scare you. So by the time you get to that point in the sentence, you're already convinced that what you're going to learn is going to be scary, but something else. It's like a fucking soap opera. It keeps your brain engaged. Something else is coming. Something else is coming. This is important. I got to keep going. It's almost here. We're almost there. Almost got it. And then following, it says, but intensify your resolve. Okay. How am I to interpret that exactly? Intensify my resolve. What resolve? We're just a bunch of dumbasses watching YouTube, listening to some jerk off on 4chan pretend like he has the plan to save the world. What resolve? The resolve to take back control. And how are we going to do that exactly? I mean, what has happened? Who's been arrested?
Take back control, freedom, and control.
Amy, you sound like you're talking from the other side of the room.
Sorry, I forgot to put my mic down. I said freedom and control are 2 different things. I mean, they're diametrically opposed. So we're going to take back control at freedom? I'm not buying that right there. You heard that, right?
Yeah, I heard you. You're
Okay.
right, Amy. You're right,
Wasn't
Amy.
sure.
They're clearly they're not the antithesis, but they're definitely 2 completely different words with completely different meanings. Yeah, Mark, go ahead.
You know what? As much as we don't like mainstream, and we can't believe everything they tell us, just based on what I went through just in the last number of months, and then basically in the last 3 weeks of full-on Q investigation, I want to just read this piece on how it took off after November 3rd when Tracy put that video out. Because Q had just posted on October 29th his first posting, and then she's asking if could this be happening? Okay, so here's what NBC had to say. Just give me 2 minutes as I read this. Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
On November 3rd, 2017, just 6 days after the first 4chan post from Q, Diaz posted a video titled "POL Q clearance anon. Is it happening?" ? In which she introduced a conspiracy theory to her audience. I do not typically do videos like this, she said, but citing Q, very specific and kind of eerie posts, she said. But citing Q's very eerie and kind of very specific and kind of eerie, she says. Diaz explained that she would be covering the 4chan post, so effective November 3rd, she's in. Just in case this stuff turns out to be legit, because honestly, it kind of seems legit. That was her tweet and her post. That video, which has been viewed by nearly 250,000 people, made Diaz one of the earliest people to seize on Q posts and decipher them for a conspiracy-hungry audience. Diaz followed with dozens more Q-themed videos, each containing a call for viewers to donate through links to her Patreon and PayPal accounts. Diaz's YouTube channel now boasts more than 90,000 subs, and her videos have been watched by over 8 million people. More than 97,000 people follow her on Twitter. Diaz, who emerged from bankruptcy in 2009, says in her YouTube videos that she now relies on donations from patrons funding her YouTube research as she's the sole source of income. Diaz declined to comment on this story. Because I cover Q, I got an audience, Diaz acknowledged in the video that NBC reviewed last week before she deleted it. To reach a more mainstream audience, older people and normies who are on their own would have trouble navigating the fringe message boards. Diaz said in a blog post she recommended they move to the more user-friendly Reddit. Archives listing the three as the original posters and moderators show. So they're talking about the moderators from the 4chan, 8chan. They created a new Reddit community called the CBTS stream, the calm before the storm. That's after Trump's, the calm before the storm, short for calm before the storm, where the subscribers soon gathered to talk all. Their move to Reddit was key to QAnon's eventual spread. There they would be able to tap into a larger audience of conspiracy theorists and drive discussion with their analysis of each Q post. From there, QAnon crept to Facebook, where it found a new, older audience via dozens of public and private groups. The audience then started to head to 8chan to check out the original source and interact directly with the posts. Q posts moved from 4chan to offshoot 8chan in November. After a post claiming the original board had been infiltrated, 8chan became notorious for having no rules and even hosting child pornography. 8chan's owner's official Twitter account marveled at the influx of older, less internet-savvy visitors to the site, drawn by QAnon. We joked about it for years, but hashtag QAnon is making a reality. Boomers on your image board. Meanwhile, Diaz kept making videos racking up hundreds and thousands of views. Over the next several months, Diaz and the two moderators, and that would be Baruch and Pamphlet Anon, Baruch described Pamphlet Anon, picked up tens of thousands of followers on Reddit and YouTube and added even more moderators to their 8chan and Reddit boards. They also began to break into what might be considered the mainstream of the conspiracy world. Conspiracy theorist Dr. Jerome Corsi on InfoWars and an InfoWars editor and a best-selling author of books about the deep state had taken an interest in Q and was decoding the messages on Reddit. In December, Pamphlet Anon and Baruch the Scribe even made an appearance on InfoWars. Corsi has since disavowed the QAnon conspiracy and called the current Q poster a fraud, citing the supposed takeover of the channel by someone posing as Q in April. But last week, facing backlash from his base, Corsi tweeted that he supports the QAnon movement and its supporters' excellent research. And I posted that link earlier, and you can go and check that out. But I wanted to go there because we were just talking about how Corsi got involved. And he's the super chat king. His first 10 minutes, if you watch him, and you did, if you watched him during the QAnon prime when they were all getting cha-chings, his first 5 to 10 minutes of his video, he would just thank everybody in the room for donating. As soon as they gave him money, he mentioned their name and gave them love. It was sick to watch. He's just one.
I don't know.
There you go.
I don't know if Freddie is still hanging around, but I want to say thanks to Freddie because he highlighted an interview with Tracy Beans and Sean from SGT Report. And let me see. I've got a note here somewhere. What did she say exactly? Here. Sean and Tracy Beans said that they both got a boost when Alex Jones featured their material. Tracy said to Sean at SGT, she said, "Thanks for helping her channel grow." And then she said, Alex played some, and then Sean said that he also got a boost. He was like, he said, "I appreciate that because I got the same thing when Alex Jones played some of his videos in the early days." And then Tracy piped up and said, Alex did the same for her. So, I mean, it's one thing for, I guess, Sean, a pretty sizable channel, you know, being featured on Alex, but Tracy is getting a boost, or previously got a boost from Alex Jones as well.
She did.
Yeah, or are you already aware of that one?
Oh yeah, she did an appearance. She was also used heavily by Hagman and Hagman. They were like the tier 2. That was where she was doing a lot of it, and SCGT. And their own channel was obviously off and running. So the way they can set the Q bots up, they can send them a lot of viewers, no problem. You see right now what's going on with your you got 28 thumbs up and 28 thumbs down. The Q and honors.
It just went to 29 thumbs down, so we're getting hit right now.
Yeah, they're on you. It's good though.
Yeah, they are seriously peeved by this, I think.
Somebody.
I mean, I've never seen so many thumbs down.
I mean, we
so soon.
We were sitting there at like just 3-4 thumbs down, and all of a sudden somebody in the chat said it's a thumb war 27-27, and then I look down, I go, oh yeah. So you see how they're doing it? You got the clickers.
Oh yeah, somebody.
Boys are clicking. You only got 40 watching, so yeah,
yes,
somebody's got into your click. Yeah.
Somebody's switching.
Yeah, somebody's playing games.
Look
at that. That's awesome.
It's 31-31 right now. Wow, this is actually kind of entertaining to watch the thumbs right now.
Yeah, really.
They're doing it.
I've never seen this before.
Look at 30 down. 33-30. Look.
I think T-Door is helping us out. I'm pretty sure T-Door is helping us out because normally, you know, first of all, I've never had this many thumbs up, and I certainly have never had this many thumbs down. And I know that T-Door's got a whole bunch of channels. And so I think T-Door is switching accounts and he's bumping it up. I think we're winning the war right now. Get on it. It's 34-31. 36. Go T-Door.
Yeah.
Yay! Let's get these thumbs going.
I got 36-31 right now. We should call it like a horse.
Yeah,
race.
So do I.
We should call it like a horse race. And coming around this corner, we're coming to the 38. It's up to 38-32. And I'm gonna.
When's it gonna end?
38-32. Go T-Door. I'm pretty sure that's T-Door helping us out. Yep, Roger that. That's him. Appreciate you, brother. Appreciate you. All right.
Yeah. Why would of all the times, all the different things that you know,
with
you know, we've covered
40 people watching, and we've got 70 thumbs total at the moment. I have 38-32.
Yes, I do remember Distorting. I absolutely remember about a year ago you did the same thing. We had a similar situation, and I do appreciate you.
Let's see if it holds at 33 thumbs down. If it's some kind of little wink this guy's trying to give us.
Oh, the thumbs down just went down. It went from 33 to 32. I don't know how that worked. Maybe somebody had a change of. Oh, we had a troll change of heart. And his heart grew 3 times its size that day.
Oh, it's just crazy. Like, there's some weird trolls on this site, man. Like, you know, back in the day when people used to make videos about the flat Earth, there were people commenting.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, it did.
Yeah, people would comment like multiple paragraph-long comments.
Maybe.
Saying how the flat Earth is real. And you're a shill, and these these videos were only up for maybe about like a minute, and somebody in that 1 minute was typing multiple paragraph long explanations on how the flat Earth is really real.
Mark, you were going to say?
Yeah, I wanted to just swing back to Alex Jones for a minute. You remember the day that he was taken down on all his platforms?
Yeah.
It was August 6th. Okay, so that's the day. The move was the latest in the cascade to remove Jones following related bans from Apple, Spotify, Facebook. So on Monday, YouTube moved to delete Alex Jones for violating community guidelines, the latest in a string of moves from tech giants that could dramatically limit the reach of InfoWars. So that was on August 6th. So what else was happening in the news with old Alex Jones on August 6th? The day that he lost all his channels. It was a bad day for Alex. Well, it might have been a good day.
I think that
Six more Sandy.
Yeah, something was going on with his court case right at the time.
Yeah. That was, so the same day he's lost his channel and everything, 6 more Sandy Hook families line up to sue broadcaster Alex Jones. So it was on CNN. So, a defamation lawsuit has been filed against Alex Jones, along with some other of his associates, for saying the mass shooting at Sandy Hook Elementary was fake. So on Wednesday, families of 4 students and 2 educators who died, along with 1 FBI agent, responded to the shooting, filed the suit in Connecticut court. So that was happening the same day he was losing his channel. So you don't think that whole Alex Jones thing is just like made to look like one big conspiracy fool? But you wouldn't know that was in the news, because the only thing you heard about in the news was Alex Jones deleted from all these social media platforms. They weren't telling you that Alex Jones was still doing the Sandy Hook as a scam.
Yeah,
I can't say the word. Sorry, I can't say the word.
Like, how orchestrated is this all at this point, where Google, Apple, Spotify, all went after Alex Jones on one day? Like, it's just reached such a crazy point now, man.
That's lunatic.
I hear they even kicked him off of LinkedIn.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah, they kicked him.
No, this doesn't happen organically. It just doesn't. No way.
No, he didn't. Did he get kicked off LinkedIn too?
He did.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
LinkedIn cut.
It doesn't even make any sense, because you can't post shit on LinkedIn.
What?
That's awesome.
Oh no! Oh, that one got me.
Oh, Matt
Friday Night Laugh.
Matt Diamond says AJ was banned from Pornhub too. Oh, jeez. AJ, that's funny. Oh my God, that was funny. I gotta look. That one's a good one. He get the boot from LinkedIn, so he can't get a new job. He can't get his resume out.
He's gonna have to fill out a resume by hand.
That's cold. I mean, they lined up to take him off all these sites. He agreed to it. Of course, I was telling Lady Zaga in the chat there. He got the handshake and the manila envelope. He got Soros sorry ass money. That's what he got. To disappear.
Wow. So,
shout out to Nana. Shout out to Nana.
So Q is obviously more than one person. Q is obviously highly intelligent, almost to the point of being scary, because of the way I was breaking down that last little post when I was screen sharing. It's so Edward Bernays to me. It is so craftfully written with the most clever phonic type. Do you know what I'm trying to say? It's
psychological manipulation.
Yes, thank you, Amy. Very well said. Exactly. So there's another interesting aspect.
I don't know if you can hear me. My CPU's
I heard that, but you're kind of still cutting in and out a little bit. Q seems to read the replies. He seems to almost read all the replies. And let me see. There's a actually, I might want to break down this video. It's a short video, and it's a praying medic video. It's Q for beginners. If you guys are interested in that, let's see how much. It's 9 o'clock. How much time do you need for your presentation, Mark?
20 minutes.
Okay.
Aaron, make sure the one that you're showing is the one that I have on the video I'm playing now. He did two.
Okay.
I'm just going to.
Well,
QAnon made simple. I want make sure it's the January 14th one. That's the beginning of his when he started getting into it. But play the one you have if you want to just throw it up there. He's done two.
Okay, I'm gonna pull it up and then you can tell me if it's the one you're thinking of. Oh, I see there is a part 1 and a part 2. I didn't realize there was a part 2. Hi, sweet pea. And my computer is running slow. It's not wanting to open this up right away.
Well, I think you can hear me now because my CPU is back down again. It
all right.
goes up.
All right, Mark, you tell me. I found this video just the other day while kind of getting my head in gear for tonight's show. Let me is this the one you're talking about here? Baldy.
That's the second one, right? So that's the
well, it says part 1. Right?
He's done another one because he did a very first one in January. That's when he jumped in. This is 2 months ago. This is a follow-up one. So
all right, well,
that's not the one you can play that one. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say it's only like
the one I used is he's explaining how he got involved in Q because his wife was involved, and then he started paying attention to the Q boards, and then it got him interested. That's what for beginners, and then he started breaking down. But yeah, let's hear what he says here. He's promoting furniture.
The Landers set up minutes and come with a free smartphone app. The Lander is entirely made in the USA.
Hi there, my name is Dave, but you may know me by my pen name, Praying Medic. You may have heard a little bit about this.
Can you hear this okay?
On the internet called Q.
Yep.
In this video, I'm going to give you a brief overview of what we know about Q and hopefully dispel some misinformation. Back in October of 2017, an anonymous person began posting on the internet message board called 4chan. The interesting thing about posting on 4chan and 8chan is that you're given a unique alphanumeric ID, but it keeps you anonymous. You're not given a name or anything. So when you post on those boards, no one really knows who you are. From time to time, people will go on the boards and they'll claim to be government insiders inside the FBI, Department of Justice.
Like Gandalf.
Well, these people typically last for a couple of days. They post information that they say is insider information. Sometimes they'll predict that someone's going to be arrested, and then they're never heard from again. Well, in October of 2017, a person showed up on 4chan, and they introduced themselves as a Q clearance patriot. Now, backstory on Q clearance. It is a very high-level security clearance. It's issued by the Department of Energy. Q has never claimed to work for the Department of Energy. They just introduced themselves as a Q clearance patriot. So this person has been posting on 4chan.
All right, I'm going to stop it right there. Now, as this guy says, the Q poster has never claimed to have any affiliation with the Department of Energy. And yet the Department of Energy does, in fact, have a very high level of clearance that they call Q clearance. What do we make of that?
Good question.
Well, it's a contradiction because Q is supposed to have the utmost highest security clearance, right? That's why it's Q clearance. So disinformation. These guys don't read from the same script all the time, unfortunately. They're not plugged into the AI system like the mainstream is. That's a joke.
Well, I think it's kind of odd, just that whoever is posting on the 4chan, 8chan boards would use that moniker of Q. Now, most people, I think, who are at least familiar with, Star Trek, are familiar with the character known as Q in Star Trek.
Hell yeah, man.
Who was supposedly this alien who was ridiculously intelligent and had some sort of, powers, almost godlike powers.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Q operated from the Q continuum, which was a reality or a dimension, like I think it was the 6th or 7th dimension, where they could interact with our lower dimension.
Well, you guys know me, and I like etymology. Q actually is a German word. It comes from the German word quell, which means source. So, as some of you also might know, I've been doing a shitload of research into religions lately. It's been a big focus of mine for the last several months. And there is a character that is referred to by biblical scholars as Q. Now, the Bible doesn't say a word about Q, but it's referred to by biblical scholars because the consensus among biblical scholars is that the Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, are forgeries, and that they're not signed by Matthew, Mark, Luke, or John, and that we don't know who actually wrote them. And for the most part, we don't know when they were written. So the Gospels of Matthew, Mark, and Luke, and John not only plagiarize from each other, but that they are written anonymously. And biblical scholars, when they discuss these topics about the Gospels in particular, they refer to this Q source as being either a person or a group of priests or somebody who was initiated and in the know. So I'm not sure if you guys are aware of that other aspect of Q, that it's deeply embedded in the historicity and biblical scholarship of particularly the Gospels. Matthew.
I did not know that. Very interesting.
So if you were to do just a simple, anybody interested, just do a simple Google search, just type in the word Bible and then Q or Q/Bible. And you'll find all kind of information on this Q author, this character that is supposedly it's like a ghost writer. You know what I mean? So Matthew and Luke plagiarized Mark, but they also had additional sources of information, and that is known as the Q source.
Wow.
And the way that the Gospels are written, that Matthew and Luke, they both borrow things from Mark. I'm doing this off of memory now. Matthew and Luke both borrow almost verbatim certain passages and stories from the Gospel of Mark. And yet at the same time, Matthew and Luke also borrow things from each other, which makes the whole thing really fucking bass-ackwards and curious. And this is why when you really research like biblical scholarship, that you're going to come across this Q source. So I just wanted to throw that out there as just another head scratcher, because this Q character on the 8chan boards is supposed to have inside information. He's supposed to be a government agent. He's supposed to have the scoop. He's supposed to, be a secret anonymous whistleblower. So this is the word source from German. This is the Germanic etymological word that goes back, and it means the source. Mark, you weren't here a couple of weeks ago. Gandalf and I broke down. I'm going to go ahead and change the subject, get off of the Bible stuff.
I'm sure they chose Q for numbers.
Amy, your connection is still not so great.
Yeah, I'm aware of that.
I mostly heard what you said. Mark, you weren't here a couple of weeks ago. Gandalf and I broke down the SGT video. He didn't produce the video. He actually mirrored it from somebody else. It was the video called Q, the Plan to Save the World.
Yeah, I saw that, yeah. I think I left the comment on it. I'm sure I did. I'm sure. Yeah. The Plan to Save the World. Go ahead. I got to go back. I got to listen to what he said about that one.
Oh, well, I kind of ranted and raved about every 30 seconds during that video. I played it and we broke down almost everything that was said.
It was an 11-minute video too. That was like a 10-minute video. And then I like how he says, I normally don't mirror videos on my channel, but this one is, I have to mirror this video.
Yeah.
Did you remember when he said at the start?
Yes.
Hello, Patreons. I normally don't mirror videos, but this one is very important. We have to get the message up.
Yes. Yeah, you definitely saw it, because yes, he did say that, and I do remember him saying that at the beginning before he played that other video.
I keep going over to his channel and leaving comments. I keep asking him, what's happened to Tracy? I just go to leave it. And then I come back a couple hours later and I've got no activity on it. And I go, you little bugger, you've shadow banned me, man. Not allowed. Not allowed. Johnny Supertramp. Johnny Supertramp in the house.
Johnny.
Awesome, Johnny.
Johnny gets a shout out. Johnny's been exposing a bunch of this LARPing crap shit.
Johnny's been doing a job, man.
Yeah, he has.
Johnny's gonna want to stick around and see how the numbers in the end relate to the Toronto shooting. Yeah.
And
there's been a lot of good. There's been.
Speaking of numbers,
you can bet your ass whoever has been thumbing this down is gonna flag this video with like 40 freaking flags. I swear.
They probably will. They're ghastly, pathetic people. But
well,
yeah, we're at
Aaron,
51 up to 54 down.
I'm going to get a strike for bullying and harassing an anonymous Q poster.
Hey, Aaron.
Yeah.
Aaron, remember when we did remember right after the Douglas shooting?
Mm-hmm.
We had to remember we did that expose and we had to pull it because we were gonna get smoked on that one, didn't you? Didn't you pull that one before it got this right when David Hogg was everyone was getting struck down? They were talking about Hogg. Everyone was getting a strike, and didn't we say we better pull that one? Or did you get a shot? Did you get a strike on that one? I pulled it.
No, it was my David Hogg video, and it's not even my video. I mirrored Anthony 2B video. When he found David Hogg actually acting in an actual movie.
Yeah.
And then David Hogg was on CNN saying, in no way, shape, or form am I an actor. And then Anthony 2B was like, oh, yeah? Well, what's this?
Yeah.
And there's that movie called his school produced called Lone, where he's He's literally a fucking actor in an actual movie that they produced.
David Hogg's in the chat room right now.
So that's the video. When I mentioned earlier, when I mentioned earlier to that channel, The Eye, that was the video I was referring to, because I posted that video, Anthony 2B's video showing David Hogg, the actor, and my title of my video was David Hogg, the actual actor. And
yeah, it was.
And I had it up for 4 or 5 hours, and I literally deleted it, took it down before I went to bed. And then 3 weeks later, I'm watching a Paul Romano Pockets of the Future video where he said that he got a strike on a video that he deleted like 2.5 weeks ago. And I was like, what? That's crazy. And the next fucking day, I got a strike on my David Hogg video that had been deleted for 3 weeks.
Was that your first strike on that one?
On that one, what, this channel?
Yeah, did that one give you your first strike? You weren't able to live stream on that. We were live streaming on.
I think I already had a strike. It gave me my second. It gave me my second strike.
Yeah.
And that's when I took a break, because I couldn't even upload videos. I couldn't mirror, like if Amy and Bart or Gandalf wanted to do a show, I couldn't even mirror. I couldn't upload anything for 2 weeks. And that's when we took a break. We were off. We didn't do shows for like a month or so. All right. So
we were also talking about that right around that time. And you said, oh, shoot. And then the next day or the day after, I told you, I said, we better pull that video or you're going to lose your channel. Because that was around the time you had already got that strike.
That's right. You and I were up late talking on Skype that night.
Yeah. And I said, we better pull that, because you're going to get a third strike, and I was going to get a second strike if I uploaded that to my channel.
Well,
and I did. I had it up.
As far as I know, they left our stream alone. I don't think I pulled the stream.
No?
I don't think so. And it wouldn't have mattered, because they fucking struck me 3 weeks after I deleted the Hog video anyway. So if they want to strike you, there's no rules, man. They just go back and retroactively, you know.
Yeah. Like the most recent strike I had was from a show that we did with Plasma Burns 9-10 months ago, almost a year. And all we did was discuss information on Boston and the Sandy Hook chemtrails. You know, just showing the evidence and discussing it.
And we played. I did a bunch of screen share. I was screen sharing, and I played a bunch of the documentary that Plasma put out, the Boston gun bombing. And
I was struck for bullying and harassing.
Meanwhile, actually, that interview was on my first channel, which is deleted. So I don't actually have that video. I don't have that uploaded on this channel.
I can't find it on my computer even. It seems.
Oh well, I've got it.
Oh good. Oh good. I'm
pretty sure I've got every show that we've ever done, I think, in a file.
At least close to it. Very close to it. Well, I thought I did too, but that's missing. I went looking for it. But then all the pictures of my daughter are missing too. The folders are now empty. And I can assure you, I did not empty my daughter's pictures from those folders. So I give high probability that somebody has been tiptoeing through my computer doing unethical things. Bullying things.
Huh. Well, I don't know what to tell you. That sounds pretty fishy.
Yep.
All right. Anyway, this guy here, Praying Medic. Let's get through this. It's only a 4.5 minute video. We're already almost 2 minutes into it, and he has explained the nuts and bolts. And I wanted to break down some of the things that he says after this. So I'm going to go ahead and play some more of this, and then we'll get on to Mark, and he can present what he has.
Woohoo!
All right. Let me see. Go ahead.
And because of control problems, they eventually ended up moving over to 8chan. the board administrators set up a specific board just for Q to post on HN. So Q has posted on several different boards over the length of time, but Q has also given some pretty convincing evidence that Q is the same person posting today that was posting back in October of last year. Unlike a lot of people who show up on 4chan and 8chan, insiders, but are gone after a few days, Q has been posting consistently for 8 months, and Q seems to read almost all of the responses to the things that he posts. Q often replies to the anons on the board. Sometimes Q will ask questions for further research. And speaking of research, part of Q's mission is to ask us to do research on a variety of different subjects. You don't have to be a researcher to follow Q. There are plenty of people that are doing research. I happen to be one of them. My role in the Q movement is I take screenshots of the things that Q posts on 8chan. I will take the images, I'll post them on Twitter. I will include links, some text, comments, and observations that I've made.
I'm going to stop it right there for a second because I want to touch on what he said a second ago, where Q asks people to do research. And this is where I get the phrase that I have coined. I've been saying this for a year and a half now, breadcrumbs for truthers. This is where our masters, our social engineers, are intentionally injecting things into our little truth research community and giving us empty rabbit holes to go bury our heads in and chase our tails. So when he says that Q is asking people to do research,
by research they mean watching other QAnon YouTubers.
For the most part, that's the extent of most people's research. Now, some people have gone and done some digging on some of the characters and players that Q has brought forward. And then, of course, they post videos, and then other people watch their videos, and they call that research. But it's watching someone else do at least some rudimentary research. My question is, who the hell... maybe I should rephrase this. My question is, does anybody feel like they're being led by the nose? If you're like a legitimate, because I think we had somebody in the chat who said that they were 100% on board with Q, and I forget who it was. If anybody is anybody a real legitimate research into Q, do you feel like you're being led by the nose? Do you know what I mean? Because that's, holy shit, look at the thumbs, 53 to 55.
Pretty amazing, huh?
Wow. I think Tidor might be out of channels. 53 up. That's pretty damn amazing.
I think some troll gathered troll buddies together to use all their socks to make these thumbs down ridiculous. It's crazy.
Johnny says he thinks Q is Cicada 3301. And by the way, you know what? I've not mentioned this before, but I don't know if you guys remember that, right when the Iraq War was coming to a close, the U.S. military had all this surplus military equipment that they were gifting to police agencies, police forces all over the country, and in some cases, even school districts.
Yep.
Were receiving heavy armor, rocket launchers, rifles and armored vehicles and Bearcats and Humvees and shit like that. And that was part of what's called the 1033 program. The Pentagon 1033 program is where they gave away all this leftover military equipment to police forces all over the country. So when I see Cicada 3301, that's a backwards 1033 right there.
Yep, it sure is.
So
Very interesting.
Hey, Mark, just real quick, Do me a favor, because I have honestly not paid any attention to Cicada 3301, and you said that what did you say that what's his name what's his name was involved in that
Schoenberg?
No, the fat guy, the rich, he's wealthy, the YouTuber, what's his name? Just it's around the tip of my tongue. Shit. You mentioned his name earlier.
Not Thomas Schoenberger.
No.
DeFango?
DeFango, yeah, DeFango. So what
DeFango.
Okay, so
yeah.
So what is this 1033 or what is Cicada?
What, Cicada 3301?
Johnny says 1033 is officer needs assistance. Interesting. Yeah, so what is Cicada 3301? What is that? Is that a program?
Do you remember?
Is that an algorithm DeFango created?
No. Do you remember the Cicada puzzle online? Do you remember watching that at all?
Oh yes, there was. That's right. It was.
Okay, let me. Yeah. Okay. So yeah. All right. So I did a video on Cicada and how it's.
That was for
apparently.
Hackers. That was for hackers, wasn't it?
Highly intelligent individuals. The stated purpose of the puzzles each year has been to recruit highly intelligent individuals, though the ultimate purpose remains unknown. Some have claimed that Cicada 3301 is a secret society with a goal of improving cryptography, privacy, and anonymity. Others have claimed that Cicada 3301 is a cult or religion, according to statements of several other people. The Cicada puzzles were created because they were looking for potential members with cryptography and computer security skills. So yes, so the guys that created Cicada and Lestat, who I've been in touch with, and I did the video. He's the one that War Drummer said the troll, because Lestat was one of the cicadas. Lestat is Mother Liberty now online, so you can go to his blog, and I've left in that my last video. I've left Lestat's links to his blog and his YouTube channel. While Cicada 3301 was DeFango, was Lestat, and then Schoenberger decided to upend it and take it and move it to the Cube because they had already had the infrastructure in place with all the names. So their first internet puzzle started on January 4th, 2012 and ran for approximately 1 month. A second round began a year later on January 4th, 2013, and the third round following the confirmation of a fresh clue posted on Twitter on January 4th, 2014. The stated intent was to recruit intelligent individuals by presenting a series of puzzles which were to be solved. No new puzzles were published on January 4th, 2015. However, a new clue was posted on Twitter on January 5th, 2016, and in April 2017, a verified PGP signed message was found. Beware false paths. Always verified PGP. That message explicitly denies the validity of any unsigned puzzle as recently as April 2017. So it went dormant on April, I think it was the 28th, it went dormant on April 28th, 2017. And then all of a sudden, in November, October, just months later, QAnon appears on the scene. So that's why a lot of people that are in the underworld of Cicada 3301 and in the underworld of QAnon are well aware that Cicada 3301 had members and they took them over to Q because they needed that computer expertise, and all these other guys were probably playing the game all along. So Cicada goes quiet after 5-6 years online, and then Q pops up, and it's a puzzle. That's why these guys are so good, because they're good at creating these puzzle scripts and narratives and all these chat boards and chat rooms. And that's what the bakers do. The bakers in QAnon are the ones that are trolling the internet, and they're the ones that are taking all these little pieces of crumbs and then they retweet and then they put them in the titles and in the chat rooms, like we were talking about the Q pub earlier. That's Serial Brains, that his mastermind. So yeah, it's just a tangled web. But definitely the cicada group is definitely Johnny Supertramp's been looking at it. I know he has, and me and him have been sharing stuff too. They will ultimately admit that Cicada 3301 went over to the QAnons and it was infiltrated as well. So there you go.
Well, Sandra is busy using her wrench timing people out. Looks like Q Army and Santilli Lace has just been timed out by Sandra. Good job, Sandra. Keep it up.
Woohoo!
Q Army was timed out by Sandra. With Q Army was in our chat, or is in our chat, or is listening to our chat. Interesting. So what was it that guy was saying, that we're not targeted? Look at that, 63 thumbs down. Holy shit! No, we're not. No, we're not targeted. And it's
no one's targeting us.
No. No, I'm just paranoid conspiracy guy.
Yeah, right. Did you notice that we've got about 40 people watching rather consistently, and we now have a total of it's 119. 119 thumbs total. Yeah.
Amazing.
Oh my gosh, it's crazy.
Guerrilla Media, go Sandra, go.
Yep. I mean, we haven't had trolls in our chat like this in a long while. I mean, since just before we decided to wrench all of our friends.
That's why I wrench all my friends.
Yep.
Rob S. Rob, you don't have a wrench. I'm going to add another moderator as soon as my computer will catch up. Rob S., you got a wrench. Okay, where were we? Mark, let's see. We're at 9:30 right now. You got 25 minutes. It's your turn, buddy. The floor is yours, my friend.
I'm just telling Johnny Supertramp that the numbers don't lie, my brother.
Hey, oh shit! I was screen sharing that whole time. That's right.
You were. That's why Johnny was asking who the bald-headed Freemason.
Oh, that's praying medic, the bald-headed Freemason. Yeah.
It's more like praying mantis. I call him praying mantis.
Yeah, I caught the play on words. Go ahead, Mark. The floor is yours.
Okay. So you're gonna open up the screen. Dorian, you want to open up the screen for me?
I think Aaron stepped away. What do you need to do? Open up the screen. You can set the screen share yourself, Mark.
I'm safe. I've got it. Yeah.
I've got you highlighted, and yeah, I just had to go get some more wine.
So you got So I'm open on screen sharing. You see anything right now?
Yeah.
On it?
Yeah, you're sharing. You're highlighted, and you're sharing. It's all you.
Okay, so I want to go to. What do we got open? I got the Toronto van attack open on Wiki.
Toronto van attack.
Okay. So, April 23rd this year, I don't know how many of you are out there that remember this, but Toronto had a similar event that New York had with the delivery truck. Only in Toronto, it was, right? Toronto, it was a rider rental truck, and I don't think you can see that, but it's 033s on the license plate. So that was the Toronto attack, okay? And apparently, this truck went down the busiest street in Canada, which is Yonge Street, and he mowed down. How many people did he mow down? He killed 10 and injured 16. He killed 10 and injured 16. So remember, you got a 10 and a 6 there, which equals the 26, right? So when you look at the 26,
actually 10 and 16, you put those numbers side by side, drop the 0, you've got an upside down or an inverted 9/11.
Yes, you do.
That's where I was going to. You didn't let it right here. You got the 9/11 down here.
All right, it's all you, buddy. Go ahead.
Yeah, you're on it though, buddy. You're on it. But remember the number 26, okay? Because it comes back into play, okay? So the first 9/11 call reporting pedestrians being hit was received at 125 at Finch Avenue. White Chevrolet Express van rented from Ryder ran a red light and drove southbound, and it went on a rampage and mowed down everybody. So this happened on April 23rd. And then Toronto was deemed with another one on July 22nd, 2018. We had the Danforth shooting. Toronto's Danforth shooting was a mass shooting that occurred on Danforth Greektown on the night of July 22nd, 7/22/2018. Fazeh Hussein killed 2 people and wounded 13, 8 directly using a semi-automatic pistol. He committed suicide after a shootout. So, the perpetrator, which I quoted earlier, was 29-year-old Fazl Hussein. 29-year-old Fazl Hussein. Note found near truck claims Manhattan attack done for ISIS, court source says. So the New York rental truck attack, 8 people were killed and almost a dozen injured when a 29-year-old. You see the similarities there? And he's from he is from Uzbekistan. Seyfulo Habilabak Sayapov from Uzbekistan, 29-year-old. 29-year-olds.
It must be a thing about turning 29.
Yeah, and 26. Yeah, and 26.
Yes.
So, funerals held for Danforth shooting victims Juliana Causas and Reese Fallon. PM Trudeau attended funeral of Fallon, 18, who along with Causas were among 15 shot on Danforth Avenue. The craziest story about this shooting in Toronto is one of the girls, the 18-year-old graduate from Toronto's Malvern Collegiate Institute, was weeks away from starting nursing studies at McMaster University. My second oldest sister works at Malvern Collegiate.
Really?
And she has for 30 years.
Wow.
My youngest sister, Wendy, as you well know, is awake and wide awake, not my Malvern Collegiate sister. I wanted to ask her the other day, did you ever see her? When did she start at the school? And I haven't. I still don't have that information, and I want to know. But my sister, it's the old saying, everyone says, "Oh, my cousin was in that San Bernardino shooting. I know somebody." Well, I know somebody that apparently was at the school with this girl here. I don't know. I'm gonna have to ask her. This girl here, the young girl, Juliana Causas, is how we're going to end this video. So I'll fast forward to the dates. So the shooting or the van rampage happened on 4/23/2018, and the shooting happened 7/22/2018. A total of 91 days. 91 days apart.
Oh, that number just keeps coming up.
It does, and let's have a quick review of it now. You have a reverse. The New York was 91. There's the reverse of all those clips you used to see. All you saw was the 19 or the reverse 91, right? You'd see that. It was heavily coded, okay? If you recall, we had the Harvest Route 91 festival.
Of course.
Yep.
Right? Okay.
And then wasn't that the same, the Queen had her 91st birthday that year?
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, there was 91s just all over everywhere.
It was big time coded, and even the Super Bowl previous, I know I made fact that when I was looking at their on stage, all their acts, the greatest ever Houston Super Bowl, I saw 91 Texas acts, and that so brought me back to my. They've taken my pictures away, but it brought me back to that Harvest 91 festival, right? So that was flagged as well for me. So we got the 19 and the 91. 91 days between the accident. July 22nd, if you recall, what was happening, huge happened July 22nd. Norway is the victim of a twin terror attacks. The first A-bomb blast targeting government buildings in central Oslo. Second, a massacre at a youth camp in Utoya. So the same day that Toronto had their Danforth shooting, Norway had theirs, July 22nd, if you recall. The attacks claimed a total of 77 lives. So the Norway attacks happened on that same day. Toronto gun control, all of a sudden the debate pops up, and they're debating gun control in Toronto. Toronto handgun ban reignites passion gun control debate. Thank you very much. Gun control debate. David Beckham is going to Australia with Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. You know what he's going to be? He's going to be the great ambassador to the Invictus Games. It's going to be the fourth Invictus Games. The first Invictus Games was in London. The second Invictus Games was in Orlando. And the third Invictus Games was in Toronto.
Really?
Any attachments ring around the rosy there, my friends?
I got flags all over the place.
I am Invictus Orlando 2017.
And you remember that thing? You remember that thing between Obama and Prince Harry and the Queen, where he drops the mic and he says, "Boom."
You're about seven windows ahead.
All right, go. I'll shut up. Go ahead. I can read your mind, brother.
Yes, indeed.
Boom. Justin Trudeau joins Invictus rivalry. There's a boom. Boom. We'll come back to those. I just had to show you. Queen versus the president. Boom. BBC News. Where was I? Sorry. You're so good, Aaron. You know me so well. Invictus Games. Okay, so Walt Disney World, that's where it happened. Great. Walt Disney World. 2017 games were held in Toronto, and in October, Sydney, Australia will get them. So Sydney, brace yourself. So 8th to 12th, May 2016, they were in Orlando. Okay? And June 16th, June 12th, 30 days later, you had the 29-year-old security guard. Oh, they're always 29, aren't they? Killed 49 people and wounded. So that was a mere 30 days after the Orlando Games, which is for the Wounded Warriors and which is put on by Prince Harry. You had the nightclub shooting. So from Toronto's closing date, so Toronto hosted last year's from September 23rd to September 30th, they hosted the games. So from the end of the games to the first attack in Toronto, 206 days. Eliminate the 0. What are you left with? 26? Where did we see the 26?
26 again.
We got another 26, okay? So what is 26? 26 is God. 26 is dog, and it is the year of the dog. Don't we know it, Philadelphia Eagles? And we also have a reversed queen. So when we have Prince Harry boom the queen, we all know they did that before the 2016 Invictus Games in Orlando.
With a little help from her grandson, the Queen has dusted down her acting skills once again, this time for the Invictus Games for injured servicemen and women, which begin in Florida next month.
Great case. Message. Very easy. Did we like to watch it together?
Yes.
Let's have a look.
Hey, Prince Harry, remember when you told us to bring it at the Invictus Games?
Careful what you wish for.
Oh, really? Please.
Boom.
And then Justin gets involved.
Oh, hey, I just thought I'd show our friends in the US and the UK how Canada brings it.
Message.
Majesty, Prince Harry,
from Michelle.
President and Mrs. Obama.
Very easy. Did we like to watch it together?
Orlando, Invictus Games. Canada's ready. Oh, hey, I just thought
That's enough of that. So, as we wrap this up, this little lovely tidbit, you see how that was all set up, right? You see what happened there with the Invictus Games. And I did a video on that a couple of years ago thinking something's going to happen. And then we have Danforth shooting. We have the young girl, Juliana Causes, the youngest girl. You notice that during the van attack, Toronto van attack, 8 women, 2 men. The woman, they're wiping out the woman. 33, Andrea, God bless her. 22, So-Hee Chung, so young, God bless her. Mina Najir,
33 is too
Jordanian
young.
retire. Just too young. Sorry. Oh, I can't watch anymore. Juliana Cozes, let's plug her in. You see the numbers there? Not too often you get 5, all of the same. So with that, I would like to say when I punched it in to the old Gematrinator, you just can't make this stuff up.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Juliana Causes was a little sacrifice for I Am Toronto Invictus. How's that for a video? Was that a good video? You'd like to watch that on a video format? So there you go. That was my Toronto discovery. Not bad, eh?
Brilliant.
Little links there, a few links. Few links for you.
Dude, that's, you have a knack for finding the gematria connections unlike almost anybody. When those numbers line up with 4 and sometimes 5 ciphers the way that you show, I can't off my head think of anybody who finds those kinds of connections.
Well, I think that match button helps.
Yeah, it does.
You just
Large.
click that,
Nice.
and it tells you what matches in all the ciphers you've got showing.
Yeah, well, what I'm saying is there's a lot of people that are breaking down gematria in all kind of different ways, and they're showing plenty of interesting and obvious connections. But the way Mark presents it, or the way he, or maybe it's just the specific connections that he's uncovering. I mean, honestly, I love Johnny, and Johnny's great with numbers. But I haven't seen anybody but Mark show, look, this matches this with 5, 6 ciphers, 4 ciphers, 5. These all match. It's not just, look, I got a 99 in Jewish on this name, and I got a 99 in Chaldean on this other name. And so they kind of match. And it's like, okay, it's interesting. It's, nothing spectacular. But when Mark lays it out, it's like, look, we got 5 matches on this name, and 5 exact matches with the same ciphers on this other name.
Yep.
And Aaron, I didn't check out every one either, but the more you plug in, the more it's going to come up the same. I mean, You know, that's so coded. That just blew my mind when I punched that in, and I could just keep punching more numbers in, and they're going to be the same ciphers Invictus Games and the young girl that died. But yeah, it's pretty crazy. But you know, everything's working on algorithms and numbers and AI. It's all interrelated. I truly believe that. One more photo, Aaron. I'm gonna just take back the screen, I guess.
You're still highlighted. It's all you.
I gotta go. Am I still highlighted? I didn't come out yet.
Well, I mean, I don't. You stopped screen sharing, but I still have you highlighted.
Oh, okay. So yeah, okay. I'll screen share this. Share. I want to share this. You got it?
Yes.
You got Harry?
Oh yeah, look at him hold his blazer.
Weird.
So the day before the games started in Toronto, Melania was here as the U.S. Representative for Trump, and Harry was there, of course, with Trudeau. And during their photo op, this is in Toronto, down I think at the Royal York Hotel. Harry was before the cameras, and the whole time he stood there, he did the little Masonic Baphomet, just to let everyone know what's going on. And that was right before the game started. And then she sat with him during the opening ceremonies that night. But he just stood there and he moved around. There's a great minute video of him. And I think the Globe Online said, was Prince Harry showing the Illuminati sign at the Toronto Invictus Games? So it's like, there you go. So you can take
that's
me off
just
again.
comfortable. No, I just do this because it's comfortable.
Yeah. Right.
So
just comfortable.
Mark, did you ever see that video of Harry when he first introduced Meghan Markle to the world as his fiance, and they come walking out of their little chateau, and there's cameras, and they stop briefly and they answer a quick couple of questions, and Harry, he's mouthing the question that's coming out of the reporter's mouth.
Oh, really? No, I didn't.
Really? You haven't seen that?
That's a good one. You got to set that up for me.
Holy shit. I don't know if I could find it I've only a few minutes before we're going to shut down here. We could always do overtime, but, and I mean, I'll look for it. Give me a second. Let me see if I can search this. I got to open up a fresh tab, and my
Lady Zag is saying that Harry was living with Merkel.
Meghan in Toronto.
Merkel. Yeah, in Toronto.
Let me see if I can find this, dude. If I can find this, I would love to show it on the show here, especially if you haven't seen it. This is going to blow your mind if you have not seen this. Let me see. Let's try Prince Harry.
I just tell Lady Zaga, Brian Mulroney's grandkids were the kids holding Meghan's veil at her wedding. I found out the other day that Meghan's best friends with old Mulroney there too, so it's the whole family's interrelated. Our former prime minister. Mulroney is royal blood, blue blood. Speaking of blood, blue blood. Yeah, Diana was sacrificed.
It's not popping up. I'm going to have to try a different search term. I wonder if anybody in the chat, just curious, anybody in the chat seen the video I'm talking about where Harry and Meghan walk out and they answer a few questions, and as the reporter is asking the questions, you can see Harry's mouth move as though he was asking the question. It was like he knew exactly what was going to be asked, and he was almost, you know what I mean? He was like speaking it as it was being asked by the reporter. It was fucking bizarre.
It doesn't surprise me at all, man. Shit's all scripted for they're not caught off guard at any time, right? They got to come off looking royal at all times, man.
Lady Zaga's saying that Megan is best friends with Mulroney's wife. Ben Mulroney, the youngest Mulroney.
Like, we're talking Brian Mulroney, right?
Yeah. You're talking, and Blue Blood just said he's royal blood. Mulroney for sure. One of our best prime ministers. Gag joke.
Well, I don't know, man. Who are you voting for in 2019?
You don't vote, bro. It's all picked. Anyway, it's a waste of time.
We're gonna have Justin Trudeau for years up here, guys.
We're in trouble.
I think I found it.
Not as much trouble as the deep state, I'll tell you right now, Gandalf. It's watching the deep state. It's fun.
All right, this is a 13.5-minute video. Let me try to find this.
Sorry, man.
Let me try to find the spot. I think I found it. Hang on, here it comes. All right, let me share this. You got to see this. Oh, we lost. Amy fell off.
Amy's gone into Chrome isolation. Amy's gone into Chrome isolation.
Come on, get to the question. There we go.
And Megan, how are you feeling? And tell us, how did you propose?
Watch his mouth.
Was it romantic?
Right there, right there, right there. Did you see that?
Was it romantic? Was it romantic?
Was it romantic?
Did you see that shit? Let me just do that again. Was it romantic?
Was it romantic?
Was it romantic?
Was it romantic? Was it romantic? Was it romantic?
Was it romantic?
God, man, these people can't control themselves. It's so ridiculous.
No, I never saw that. I never saw that. That was a good one.
Well, nothing's as bad as when people were convinced for a few days that they were actually robots or something like that. Hey, did you guys hear about that where they both came off looking like robots and it was just... Oh, God, it's so ridiculous.
Doesn't surprise me, though. Gandalf, eh?
It's like
surprise me that they've got.
It's like they're being interviewed, and it's like at like some concert or something like that, and they both are like robot. They're both robots, like robot versions of both of them.
I don't even know what to say.
I can't believe that you've got 85 thumbs down and only 35
85.
Aaron, I have to apologize for bringing all the nastiness to the chat.
I think it's I think it's we put in QAnon in the title, and the Q-tards have arrived to thumbs this shit down.
Because it's a live stream, that's why.
Yeah, well, it comes up as live, right, when you go to the YouTube live page. So they definitely just saw QAnon and saw that.
And on and on. And on and on. And if you go to my channel right now, that's all you're going to see from August 1st is Q and on and on and on Global Agenda until the Q goes away.
Oh, God.
So, Amy sending messages from Conspiracy or Not Skype.
I thought so. I heard your Skype blipping away, and poor Amy.
That's her and Gandalf are still chatting on Skype. She's got locked out by Chrome. She can't get back in.
Wow, that's hilarious. 87.
Honestly, the only time I've ever seen anything this bad, like thumbs down wise, was when Call for an Uprising sent all of his ilk to thumb down Josh's hangout that we were on.
88 thumbs down.
Keep going, man. Let's see how many.
Keep it going, Q-tards. I feel sorry for you guys spending your life in a fucking rabbit hole that's got no end to it.
Yeah, it's a rabbit hole either controlled by the Republican Party or just some 14-year-old on 4chan.
Well, I must say that 57 thumbs up is still that's a record by itself. You know what's going to happen? Somebody, I think it was Tidor that recommended earlier that I change the title of the video after the stream is uploaded. I think I'm going to leave it alone because with all these thumbs up and thumbs down, that's actually going to that's going to trigger the algorithm. This video is going to get a lot of attention.
Well, thanks, Q-tards.
Actually, I should say it's 90 now. Thank you. I should say thank you because you're actually affecting the algorithm. I'm going to get more attention. You watch, because this kind of thing triggers the algorithm, showing that it's very engaging because it's very divisive, right? There's a lot of people on both sides of the aisle, and that's the kind of thing that they want to promote is division, the kind of thing that stirs people up. And you watch, mark my words, this video, this particular live stream is going to get more views than any of my live streams this year so far. And the only live stream, I bet you this live stream gets a couple of thousand views in the next couple of weeks. You watch.
Well, the Q-tards can't have anyone going against the narrative that Papa Trump's like the savior of mankind. You know what I mean? It's crazy. Like, you know, if you go against these people, like they just get all triggered because they can't handle any contrary views to them. They're in like an echo chamber watching Jordan Sather's videos.
So Sovereign Humanoid said, "Gas the Qs." Oh my God. Gas the Qs. Oh my God. Wow. Okay. How about gaslight the Qs? And we don't, yeah, never mind. I'm not going to go there. We call them Smurfs, just so you know. Just in case. Q's did USS Liberty. We call them Smurfs, Sovereign. But I get you. I get you. That's funny. So, okay, before we close this out, there's one thing I wanted to break down, and I know, Gandalf, you're not really into breaking out hoaxes and shit, but there's a hoax going around right now involving Comedy Central's Jon Stewart. Have you seen this, where he helps rescue a couple of goats?
God, I heard something about that on like Pockets of the Future, man.
Yeah, Paul did break that one down, and Paul was spot on. Paul was absolutely spot on with his breakdown. This is, I'm going to go ahead and do a screen share, I think, because I've got a tab open with this ready to go. Jon Stewart is in the news last week because he helped rescue a couple of stray goats that wandered onto the tracks. Where did my tab go? Right, here we go. Check this out. This is only a 45-second video. It's just a CNN. I could do a Guardian or whatever. They're probably all the same. They're short. It's just a quick clip of Jon Stewart helping rescue a couple of goats. And this might actually take a moment to load because I clicked on the CNN one, which means it's going to load the entire fucking CNN website with all its add-ons, and my ad blocker and everything's going to have to work its shit out. So there's Jon Stewart holding that red board. He's there as to block. I mean, he's not doing anything. This is just so fucking staged. I can't believe it. Not to mention that if you saw this story on mainstream media, on the news, they show these two goats. There's an image, if I can find it. Video playback not supported on your browser. Bullshit. It's going to play. You're lying. I know it's going to play. And if it's not, I'll find another one. Fuck off. Go away. I'm clicking the X. Piss off. All right. That's it? No article? Holy shit, CNN. Really? That's all you're going to give me? All right, so there's this image of Jon Stewart standing there holding this red board as a blocking device to corral. But it's completely unnecessary because the goat, first of all, this woman has a leash on this goat, and the goat's not going anywhere. So Jon's efforts here are a complete fucking useless waste of time. Let me try and find this other. Let me just try this other video. Maybe it'll load faster. Jon Stewart rescues wayward goats. Well, he has actually kind of a history of working with these rescue groups. So on one hand, here we go. Look. Look at this. These goats wander on the tracks. Look. Look, they're corralled. Now, there's a...
The agency that runs the subway tweeted that they were, quote, two very bad boys. A team from the NYPD first tried to use fire snares to nab the Billies, but they proved elusive.
They were nervous and kept running from our personnel, but we were able to get them and take them off the track safely.
Officers eventually used tranquilizer guns to immobilize them.
Dunk.
And service on the N train continued.
So they use tranquilizers. A nearby slaughterhouse?
Yeah, on
really?
The subway tracks, the slaughterhouse.
Really? There's a nearby slaughterhouse in for goats in New York? Here. Look at John over there.
Goat herder, goat herder.
Thanks, John. Really good job. I closed the door.
Yeah, the goats have been in the news lately, that's for sure.
So that's actually the first time I've heard the explanation that they're speculated to have escaped from a nearby slaughterhouse. That's the first time I've heard that, because the big question is, where the fuck did the goats come from? And how did they get on the tracks? How did they get on the train tracks? Where did the goats come from? Whose goats are they? Oh my God, 94 thumbs down. Keep it going, boys. Keep it going. Let's hit 100. I'll tell you what, let's do a few minutes of overtime. Come on, 6 more thumbs down. Let's get 100 before we close it out. I'm not going to be happy till I see 100 thumbs down. Oh, Jesus Christ. So where'd the goats come from?
Yeah, so what? Jon Stewart was just randomly standing there and a bunch of goats run by the guy? Like, really?
Well, actually, no. John wasn't randomly standing there. He actually has a history of working with certain animal groups doing certain rescues. And so he does actually have a history doing that. But his role in this particular incident was completely, utterly useless. It was after the goats had already been captured. And as you can see, they tranquilized the goats, which means they were unconscious. And the track workers had those goats upside down, holding them by their feet. The goats were knocked out. They were tranquilized. And then the scene with Jon Stewart, they were put on the trailer. The goats clearly were not tranquilized. So they came out of a fenced-in area. It was like a temporary holding area. This is completely staged. Because how did the goats get on the track is what I want to know. Where did the goats come from? How did they get on the track? Who was there taking pictures? Yeah, you've got my goat. Bah. Bah. Funny. Bah. All the jokes in the chat. What's this? Sovereign, did you thumb me down for the fuck of it? But he says, fuck it, I'm gonna thumb it down. 97. Come on, guys. 3 more. We could do it.
Hey, Aaron, being on this show is going to be bad for my reputation. Going back to the goats, I just left a link in the chat, in the Google chat. Go grab that one. More goats in the news. It's goats grazing outside of O'Hare Airport. They're a group of goats, sheep, and donkey are working their way along the O'Hare Airport perimeter one snack at a time. They're grazing, and the purpose is to help clear 35 acres of land for the Chicago Department of Aviation. That was on August 23rd. The goats are in the news.
Grazing goats back at O'Hare.
Goats become gurus in community center of LCS first ever goat yoga class, August 22nd. The goat is on her back.
Oh, well, we did it. We hit the 100 mark.
I didn't want to see that before I signed off. Oh, those QAnoners.
Well, the QAnon crew is Legion. I guess they're the new Anonymous.
They are Legion. I can't believe with all the wrenches we have in there, we've allowed the Q infiltrators to infiltrate our thumbs down.
Well, the wrenches have no control over the thumbs, but they have been keeping the chat clean. Every time I check, somebody's comment was deleted and timed out. So my wrenches are doing their jobs. They're keeping the chat clean, but the thumbs they can't control. The group of animals lived on grazing land, eat their way through a fenced-in section. Then their flock master, Andrew Tokars. Hey, somebody throw Andrew Tokars in Gematrinator. Will guide them to the next area needed to be cleared. Absorbing more CO2. So we're fighting global warming. We're fighting global warming. Hey, guy who thinks that goats are fighting global warming. You got a couple of goats grazing at the airport. You're fighting global warming. Have you seen what's happening in Hawaii, Mr. Andrew Tokars? Have you seen what's happening in Hawaii for 2 or 3 months straight? It's fucking spewing more lava than it ever has in our history that we know of. It's the Kilauea volcano was more active than anybody in recent history is aware of. Not to mention that we had another volcano blow in, where was it, Indonesia? And holy shit, the earthquake Earthquakes have been busy as fuck lately as well. Aesthetics and environmental benefits aside, environmental benefits, really. Yeah, goats have been in the news. There was something else about goats in the news very recently. Now, you know, when shit like this happens, I have to go to the astrological chart, because this is not the month of Aries. This is not the goat month. This is August going into September. So we're in Leo right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to be going into Virgo. So the sun is in the analemma right now, coming out of Leo, which, by the way, the Egyptians started their calendar in Virgo and they ended it in Leo. That's why the Sphinx is a lion with a female, with a head of a female, head of a woman. It's Virgo and Leo embodied in one statue, one carving, and it represents the entire zodiacal cycle, starting in Virgo and ending in Leo. That's why Virgo is the head of the Sphinx, which is the start, and that's why the Leo is the rear or the tail of the Sphinx, meaning the end of the zodiacal chart, and according to Egypt. So I wonder why goats are in the news right now. I have to keep my eye on the goats in the news.
Well, Aaron, my sister was saying to me the other day that she says, have you noticed the goats are in the news lately? And she was talking about that, the one with Stewart on the tracks. And there was a few other things too. But yeah, like they said up in the chat, the boys are emptying the lodges. They're bringing in new goats to ride the goat.
You know,
ride the goat on initiation.
You know, when we get done here, I'm going to go jump on like Google Maps and I'm going to look at, see if there's a slaughterhouse, because the Inside Edition report suggested that there might have been escapees from a local slaughterhouse, because nobody has claimed the goats. If nobody claimed the goats, I'm leaning towards completely fucking staged. If I jump on Google Maps and I find a slaughterhouse that actually slaughters,
well, you can see
it has goats.
You see the station they were at. What was it called? See something, right? The station.
I've got that tab right here.
Yeah, you're pulling in there, pulling into the station. It shows you.
It just, let me see, New York subway tracks. It was a whirlwind day for the goats in New York. The two errant animals appeared above ground subway in Brooklyn. The team from the New York Police Department tried to use wire snares. But
in the video, near the end of the video, it shows you that the name of that station is Seashore Station or something. That's where you can start your Google image search from that station for a goat slaughterhouse.
Seashore Station? Where did you see that?
You'll see it in the video. Things were back to normal.
They went to a farm sanctuary near Watkins Glen, New York. Seashore Station.
There's a shot of the subway station. The name of the subway station where they were on the tracks.
All right, I'll go back and I'll watch that video later. I'm going to see if I can find a slaughterhouse anywhere near there.
Brooklyn. Yeah, there's a slaughterhouse, all right.
Gothard Tunnel has a goat man dancing around. Yes, they do, Broadsword. Yes, they did. That Gothard Tunnel opening ceremony was cryptic as hell. Slaughterhouse 666.
Is that the winning lottery ticket, the 666?
Oh yeah, for those of you who might have missed when we first started the stream tonight, my wife walked in the room and she showed me the Atlanta Fantasy 5 lottery jackpot tonight was $666,000 even. 666000. Fellow Man Live. Fellow Man. Kind of surprised to see you here, but okay, be nice and you can stay.
Our number, we hit the
Hello.
We hit the magic 100.
All right, we hit the magic 100 thumbs down.
Gandalf said that a few minutes ago, but hasn't moved from there. Their bots
no, it's
must
still showing
have
100.
stopped.
That is so funny. 156 thumbs. I had to come in on my alternate account.
Hey, Sovereign, take care, brother. Thanks for stopping by. And Sovereign, I'm not so sure about Charles Walton. I followed him for a while. I think he's a big nothing burger, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Charles Walton's got something to him. I unsubscribed from Charles Walton a while ago. Most of his videos are nothing burgers. So Amy made it back just in time to say goodbye.
Yeah, I made it back just to say love always.
Gandalf, you still with us, brother? You've been pretty quiet.
No, I'm here, man. No, I've just been trying to find this comment that fellow man left on my channel. I don't know. A lot of my comments don't appear on the videos anymore. Like I'll see the comment on my phone, and then I'll go to look at the comment on the page, and it's gone. So it's like a weird double ghost ban or something like that.
Wow.
Gandalf, it's happened to me too, buddy.
It's strange. I guess it's maybe to like seem like there's less people commenting on your videos, or who knows what the hell it is.
So it'll keep the algorithms in check on you, yeah. Definitely.
I think the algorithm's really going to like the thumbs on this one. The trolls, they seem to have stopped at 100. That's maybe where they're going to stop. They're satisfied with themselves.
We can hope.
You know what? When you post this, Aaron, when it goes back on live on the YouTube, you should put in your pin at the top. You go make note of the thumbs down that you received during the show. You have to make a little personal note of that and let everyone know why the thumbs are down. So you need to comment and pin your comment and say, "Look, I've never been trolled so hard." The Q and honors are out in full force tonight.
Yeah, I've never seen anything like this, man.
No, I've never. We've never had anything like this. There's 156 thumb. There's average 37, 40 people watching.
I think we were at high. We were at like 45 watching, and that's when it turned into a gong show. All of a sudden, Gandalf says we had 19 thumbs down in like one single flash of the camera. It's like boom! All of a sudden, you looked up, and we was like, "What?" All these thumbs down and thumbs up were at like 30.
Somebody in the chat mentioned something about Thumb War, and then I replied in the chat. I replied in the chat that we were losing because it was 19-22, and it was on from there, man. You could just watch the numbers roll like stock market numbers.
It was funny. That would be good to have been screen sharing that.
All right, you guys watch.
Watching the numbers.
I appreciate you guys, and I love you
Yeah.
guys. Mark, it was awesome to catch up with you.
Yeah, it was.
Final
Yep,
thoughts,
thank
everybody?
Thank you.
Yes. Yeah, really.
Thank you.
Trust the
Thank
plan,
you
everyone.
is right. Huh?
Thank you all. Thank
Remember,
you.
everyone,
And
where we go, when we go all.
that's right. And remember, you will come under attack. So the best way to, when you're under attack, is to fight back. So send your trolls to the other channels and make sure that they tell that person. Don't you be picking on Global Agenda. Don't you be thumbing down Rufus Cat's videos. Don't you be thumbing down. We have to get out. We are Q. I mean, we are. Who are we? We're Con.
We're Con.
We're Con. We're Con. We're
and I hope-
conspiracy or not.
Well, we had a couple of
Thanks
new
for the
faces.
chat.
Ziggy's I want to Kelleher or
Hear me.
Kelleher. Ziggy, I've been watching your videos lately. I appreciate you stopping by, and we've had a couple of new faces. Adelaide, I got to give a shout out to Adelaide, who's been with us from the very beginning. We love you, Adelaide. And Blue Blood, my buddy, he's been with us from the beginning. Border of Chaos, you guys have been doing a great job moderating the chat. I appreciate you. Sandra has been with us for a long time, and World Peas has been with us for a long time. Mad Pyman, we love you guys, and thank you all. Hallelujah Chorus, good to see everybody, all the usual faces. Appreciate it. I very much appreciate you guys. So final thoughts, everyone.
Well, man, where we go, when we go all.
Pick up your fucking trash.
I appreciate everyone spending the time and sitting with us this Friday evening, and we'll be continuing this on our other channels, and continue to watch as we expose Q and we expose the chivalry of the LARPers, all those LARPers that we didn't get to talk about tonight, but we were talking about them. They just don't know it. Those channels that are making money, they're all LARPers. On the Q phenomenon, LARP. Much love.
Much love, everybody.
Thanks for having me.
Johnny Supertramp,
buddy.
Lady Zaga, a couple more shout outs before we get out of here. I'm going to go ahead and close this out. I think I have, I don't have it. Let me see. I'll tell you what, let's just banter for another minute, and I'm going to set up the outro this time, and y'all can just sit around and wait for me to get it ready to go.
Well,
all right. I don't know if you can hear me, but
I hear you.
oh, good. I never know.
Well, what LARP are they going to push next? Just before we go.
Who knows? Something to make the conspiracy analysts look crazy and dangerous.
Alien invasion.
Yeah, that might be a possibility.
That's always on the table.
Think David Wilcock's project Blue Beam's finally going to come to the forefront, and we're finally going to see that Independence Day scenario?
Maybe, because when it comes to the big event that we're all anticipating, because let's be honest, everyone paying attention is anticipating another 9/11 style large world some sort of large event, and very likely they're going to have to outdo themselves, which is going to make it a bigger event than 9/11. And I put a little bit of thought into this the other day, and it occurred to me that like a World War III, like a nuclear World War III, is probably not in the cards. I don't think that is in our future.
I'm guessing possibly not, or they will really have to do some ramping to push us into that.
Yeah, we're about closing out here. I'm not going to spend the time to go into why I think that, but it's just where I am right now. I don't think that a nuclear World War III is in our future. Now, I wouldn't put it past them to set off a single device blame it on some group and then start another war and then tighten security and take away the last of our rights. Who knows? I don't know it. But the alien thing is one of the cards that they could play. And when they do play that card, it could last indefinitely.
Well, the war on terror is going to last indefinitely.
The war on terror seems to be fizzling
Right?
out, right? Because ISIS really isn't a thing anymore. Most people are seeing past the
I don't know.
psychological.
They took responsibility. I forget what. I can't get anymore. Who knows?
Who knows? It's all speculation at this point. We'll see it when it happens. Okay, I'm ready with my outro. Mark, thank you, brother. We do love you. You're a family.
Much love, everyone. Try and not get too sucked into the Q fiascos.
Oh, you know what I need to do? I am screen sharing. Cool. We're ready to go. Outro. Go. Here we go. See you guys next week.
Can't hear it.
Well, if you couldn't hear it, that's too late because it's done. Thanks, everybody. Stopping broadcast. See you next week.